Hello and welcome to the Politics Social on on Politics Social. I keep calling it Labour. And tonight, Freudian slip. Tonight we got Phil Morehouse, we got Wayne Lynch, we've got Ollie Bowler Hat Man, and we've got Scott. How's everyone doing? You all good?
Thank you.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we're all right.
So,
I mean, are we ready? Almost.
Are we ready?
This time next week.
I'm ready for the biggest hangover of all time. Right, first of all, most important thing that we need to discuss before anything else. Oh, Darren's here as well.
Darren's
Hey,
here.
Darren. Hangover cures for next Friday. So what's your favourite hangover cure, Phil? What do you do for hangovers?
It's ice cream sorts it immediately. I don't actually get drunk these days, so I never need it.
But you used to. You were a student. I know you were a
student.
student.
To ice cream. You just have a Magnum in the freezer in advance. I could sometimes be like hungover. One time in Blackpool, it was really terrible. I was so hungover with my friends. I was, slipping up on the vomit on the side of the road. I mean, it's Blackpool.
Oh,
and
was it yours or someone else's vomit?
Or someone else's.
Oh yeah, because it's Blackpool, isn't it?
Yeah, and so eventually I just sat down. I said, "Go and get me a Magnum." News agent over there. Had it 5 minutes later. I'm fine.
Phil,
Perfect. It's miracle cure.
I'm gonna concur with you, but I'm gonna add a McFlurry with apple pie.
McDonald's milkshake and apple pie. Yeah, that's a good one. Vanilla milkshake from McDonald's and a hot apple pie. You can dip the apple pie in the milkshake. It's very good. Bowler Hat Man, Ollie, have you got? Oh, by the way, Puninator isn't watching tonight, but gave a super chat yesterday because he had a burning question for you. He wanted to know, where's the bowler hat, man? So there you go.
Do you know they said that in the last stream as well? Someone just as we was coming. Yeah.
But Puninator, it happens every stream. But Ollie doesn't always wear his bowler hat because he doesn't want to look like Mr. Ben. So Ollie, what's your hangover cure?
Easy, Barocca.
Barack Obama?
No, Barocca.
What?
Barocca.
Is that even a thing?
If you say the same word several times and no one knows what it is.
Yeah.
So,
right,
for those of you who don't know,
it's like an Alka-Seltzer.
tablet.
It's like an Alka-Seltzer.
Barocca.
It's orange. It's like orange vitamin C. So you bang it in water.
Yeah.
It fizzes up and creates like this orange thing.
Like Alka-Seltzer.
Drink it and boom. Trust me.
Yeah,
I got the gone.
Okay, I'm going to get some about Barack Obama.
The thing is, Barack Obama would be a great hangover cure for the last couple of days that we've had to deal with.
Yes, but we'll come to that. Warning, don't get Scott on the rampage. Scott, what's your hangover cure?
Diet Coke and pizza.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh,
how are you going to get that in the morning?
Last night's pizza.
Put it in the oven for 15 minutes, and it
That's
goes
all complicated
really
when you got a hangover.
nice and crispy.
Well, if you have a good hangover, you're not
Just do
getting
it
out of bed
slowly.
anyway.
No.
Do it really slowly.
No.
All right.
If you have a good hangover, you're not getting out of bed before 12.
Okay, Darren, what's your hangover cure? Do you have one?
The night before.
Sorry, say that again. You broke up.
Heavily the night before.
Don't drink the night before.
Don't drink the night before. That's a very sensible hangover.
Boring.
I said drink heavily the night before.
Oh, drink heavily. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good recipe for a hangover.
To Scott's point, the best pizza is the one where you wake up on the sofa and the box is still open in front of you and you just go, no,
I can't eat it cold. I have a real phobia. I have a phobia of cold food that should be hot. So I don't mind salads and stuff, but don't eat lettuce because you might get E. coli.
I remember you telling us about this.
But I hate food. Like, those little sausages you get, little cocktail sausages. I hate them. Hates them. It should be hot. This should obviously be hot. Anyway, my hangover cure. My hangover cure definitely would involve a McDonald's milkshake, but also maybe a full English breakfast.
By the way, Diet Coke and pizza was my PG answer.
Okay.
I have an R-rated answer and an X-rated answer.
Okay, maybe not until at least the algorithm stops watching. So should we go to you, Scott, first? Because we need to talk. We need to talk about Joe.
Well, the walking core.
We need to talk about Joseph. I hope everyone got the reference on the thumbnail that I put up. I don't know if you
Have
guys
you seen
saw
his
it.
rally today?
I mean, yeah, he was not good last night, was he?
Go on then.
And you know
Right,
what?
maybe not the X one.
Today, he did a rally in Charlottesville, North Carolina today, where he seemed a lot more on the ball, a lot more lively, and a lot more awake.
It's too late. It's too late.
No, I don't think so at all. And I think it's very easy to say, oh well, Wayne's gone again. It's very easy to say, oh, okay, well, you know, he looked a little out of it or whatever on the telly or whatnot for one night. You have to remember, the election's 6 months away, right?
Yeah, he's only going to get older, mate.
Yeah, but today he was fine.
No, he wasn't.
No, he was. Did you watch the?
I saw it. He was actually a lot better. But the problem is, like, I mean, I'm not going to be one of these. Oh, he's going to lose. I actually don't know. I have no idea. I don't think there's decent enough data. But what I would say is, like, first of all, his opponents are just going to keep showing the recordings of what he was like last night.
Yeah.
And secondly, of all it shows, and like I think John Sopel made this point today, all it shows is he has good days and bad days. I mean, it's a hell of a gamble. It's not like we're not talking about when Obama went up against McCain. We're talking about if Trump wins. I mean, you just think about the consequences of that.
Well, this is what I was going to say is not only is the thing months away, I think now this election is a lot bigger than it is about Trump and Biden. This is about the administrations. Yeah. We know that Trump really is just a Trojan horse for this Project 2025.
Yes.
For the religious nuts to come in and completely try to change the country. Where the other side of it is like voting for Biden, something that's going to be that's democratic, right? I think now what we're looking at is, do you want to vote for fascism or do you want to vote for democracy? And it will be easy. It will be, you know, in that result, we will see what the American people choose.
One of the things that's often said about British politics is it's not presidential, it's not a personality contest. Right? In that debate last night, and I am someone who absolutely hates Trump with every atom of my being, Trump won. Trump won that debate by an absolute country mile.
Absolute rubbish. He was checked on everything he said.
He shouldn't have won.
All the good thing he had to say was about his golf game.
But he had the good fortune to be arguing against a man who looked and sounded like he was dying.
Well, no, he was ill. Apparently, he's come out and said that he had a cold and a sore throat last night. So
yeah, he sounded like it was much worse than that. I mean, if that was
at the end of the day, though, right? Again, I think the American people understand that this is going to be a vote for fascism or democracy.
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Because I mean, there's a lot of evidence that, like, you know, you don't underestimate the ability of people to act against their own interests. We've done it in this country. We didn't. It was. I mean,
well, they did it.
It's more obvious now, but it was obvious enough with like the number of people who wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton, and they knew what Trump was. Trump wasn't a surprise to them, and there's two ways of looking at it. You can say to yourself, look, anyone who knows what Trump is and then for whatever reason won't turn out for Biden, you know, you could say, well, that's really stupid. You've punched yourself in the face. But you can also say, but you're asking millions of people to see the bigger picture, whereas all the Democrats have to do is say, should we pick someone that you would actually get behind?
Yeah.
Well, I agree.
If they lose this election, it's got to be on the Democrats.
Completely, because why are they letting him do it?
Yes.
I think if it was down to me, Kamala Harris would be right at the front now.
No.
You know.
Well, if it was up to me, she wouldn't, because she's a black woman of color.
No, a black woman of color.
Well, yeah, she's a woman of color. No, but the point is that America will not vote for a woman president. We saw that with Hillary Clinton.
Oh, you saw that in 2016, not 2024.
I would just find their equivalent to Keir Starmer and put him up.
She would walk it.
What, a centric? Their
Obama
equivalent
would
to Keir
walk it.
Starmer literally is Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Politically, you know, if you
Yeah.
want someone who's completely centrist,
but
who's playing to the right a little bit, that's
I'm
Joe
sure.
Biden.
I'm sure she can actually string a sentence together, unlike Biden last night.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. Yeah,
It was like watching a bad comedian die on stage. Everyone just felt really awkward and horrible. And
again, we're talking about the perception of what we are looking at. But again, I think think the bigger picture election. I think the American people will see it as a bigger picture election.
Michael Warner.
It's all
Michael
about
Warner in the chat.
You got to argue with me and to say it's always going to be a personality contest. That's fine. That's fine.
No. But it's about perception. Like Joe Biden's points were absolutely spot on.
No, they weren't. No, his points were awful as well. Honestly, he didn't come back on any of Trump's lies. He rambled. He got facts wrong. He told a lie 8 times. 8 times. I counted them in real time.
Yeah, but
he told things. He said that no troops had died under his watch. And I'm watching it going, hang on, what about those 13 troops that died in Afghanistan? Or the 3 troops who died in Jordan earlier this year?
No, he wasn't talking about that. He was talking about the 3 girls that got killed by the apparent terrorists that came across the border. That was the whole point.
I'm saying that Biden's delivery. No, but Biden's delivery wasn't just bad. The content of what he was saying was bad, and he lost his track, and he just stopped. He just kind of ran out of steam.
I would also say as well, we can see this in this country. The arguments are irrelevant. You're arguing intellectually about the arguments because you're critical thinkers. The arguments are meaningless. It's all about how you come across. You know, it's like you look at some of the polls. The polls had with the Starmer-Sunak debates. I mean, the odd ones had Starmer a little bit ahead. They've been basically dead heats. All Sunak did was shout cobblers. He just talked over Starmer. He didn't give any sensible answers. But for as far as people are concerned, it's like, you know, it's a slanging match, and it's who came across more confidently, really.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why I always say politics has now become like a WWE sort of rivalry.
Yeah,
where it's just like ad hominem attacks.
It always was. No, it always was. Going back to Nixon and bloody JFK.
Yeah, but the policies get lost because how many times I mean, especially the childcare question, because how many times I put in the chat yesterday, Gray, answer the blooming question. Right, because
so frustrating.
Trump was asked multiple times about the childcare thing, and he just went off on a tangent, just attacking Biden.
He didn't answer any of the questions, but it didn't matter because he could present himself like he was. It's almost like AI, like he was passing as a human being, whereas Biden was just diabolical, and we've got to get angry about this, and we've got to scream at the Democrats now. Not me personally, because I'm a Brit, but people in America should be screaming at the Democrats, you stupid bastards, get this idiot out of here, put him off to retirement so he can, you know, live out the rest of his days in comfort. Okay, that's fine with me, but just put somebody else into that role right now. Because it's before the actual convention, so they can still do this. But Biden has to stand down. Biden has to stand down.
I think they should.
I know this. I hate saying with all due respect because that always means I'm going to basically call you
say something bad.
Yeah, I'm going to say something bad. But Scott, it's not going to happen if people keep going. No, it'll be fine. It's Trump. Scott, Trump's lost. People.
I think they should do the in case of emergency break glass and bring out Bernie.
Scott, I was saying,
emergency, break glass and bring out Bernie.
Bernie's even older than Biden, for God's sake.
If they're going to accept,
no, they're not, because he's too left wing for them. You need someone who's boring, white bread, probably white, middle aged, middle class, boring as hell, but can string a sentence together.
Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah,
there you go.
No, we can't have him. He's gay.
Look, I've already described it earlier today. It's really quite simple. You get someone who's like in their 50s, they played college football, they went into the military, they own their own business, they go to church. Just get someone like that and just put them in front of the American audience.
I think you need Gavin Newsom. I think you need because he's the.
I was going to say Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, he's the guy, governor of California. Gavin Newsom is, I think, probably their best bet. If they do decide to change horses, Gavin Newsom's their best bet.
I don't even think
Ollie,
anyone's
Ollie,
clever.
I want to back.
Sorry,
Scott
I've
for
just
what
got
he
to
said
jump.
about-
I've just got to jump in here. Ollie, you've got a massive hole in the middle of your chest.
Oh.
It's quite disturbing.
Green?
Are you okay? Are you okay, Ollie?
Yeah, no, this is why I'm wearing green.
It's like death becomes her.
Massive hole. Listen, we've got a bunch of super chats. I'm going to run down the super chat and then I'm going to go and grab myself a beer because I didn't have time between shows to go and get myself a drink. So, Michael Warner, thank you very much. And Michael was actually asking Puninator's usual question of, where's the bowler hat, man? So thanks for that. Ivan was in there. That was yet another very painful watch with Farage, talking about Quagglebox there, which I mentioned in the show. I should have called Frogglebox because he looks like a frog. Okay, thank you very much, Ivan, for the super chat there, mate. That's really kind. Tim Ballum in there with £10 super chat. 3 Flavors Cornetto. I think that's a hangover cure. Or maybe he's talking about the film series with Simon Pegg. Wayne's neighbour has both Wi-Fi and a suit. Or he had a suit. Says Yoni for the super chat. Thank you.
They're also tied up down in the kitchen.
Yeah. Yoni saying £2, €2, even better, super chat there. Biden managed to pivot from abortion to immigration, which he did. Alex, the 6th, thank you very much for the super chat. The Democrats are playing with fire. If they keep making every election one for the greater good, they're not changing the fundamentals. Absolutely. They've had 4 years since the election of Biden to find someone and groom them to the position where they can stand as president and stand a good chance of winning against Trump. And they've chosen not to do that. And that is a dereliction of duty that I don't think I'll ever forgive them for.
Yeah.
There's something big happening tomorrow.
What? Is it the FA Cup?
Well, so from the BBC, someone from the BBC, there's a special embargo of midnight on some of the papers tonight.
Ooh, what does that mean?
Oh, something's breaking.
Something's breaking.
Wonder what that's about.
Oh, maybe it's about the king.
Maybe.
He's not well, is he?
Could be.
He's not well, is he?
Yeah, he's been in a bit of bother, hasn't he?
Yeah. Shit. Or it could be about Kate.
It could be, yeah.
I doubt it's about Rishi Sunak resigning
I don't
a
think
week
so.
before the election or anything
No,
like
I don't
that.
think.
Well,
I don't
it could
think
be
he's
about
saying,
Anne.
That's it. I've
Choosing
got as far as I
hospital
can. I'm off. I'm going to California now. I tried to get through it, but sorry, I'm going to leave Oliver down.
Do you think? Did you know his dad was a pharmacist?
Sunak, his mum was a pharmacist.
Oh, was it his mum?
His dad was a GP.
Yeah, but did you know that Keir Starmer's dad, not a lot of people know this, is top secret. Don't put it about, okay?
Oh,
and you didn't hear it from me, but his dad was a tool maker.
There was a flag at Glastonbury.
Shut up.
The only time Starmer's actually made that work, there was a flag. I saw a photo at Glastonbury yesterday that had the line he used once with a picture of Starmer. It said, "My dad was a tool maker." It was like Boris Johnson as well. In some ways, so was his.
And did you know?
The only time he's ever made that work.
Go on. Right, do you know that? Again, keep this under your hat, literally under your hat. Sadiq Khan's dad was a bus driver. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Oh, don't worry, I won't tell anyone.
Shock horror.
Yoni, thank you very much for the €5 super chat there. The best course would be for Biden to remove himself from the race and pad the Supreme Court with 4 more seat warmers in that order. Yeah, I mean, that would be absolutely brilliant. The Supreme Court has just passed down a load of judgments today, including basically letting all of the people who took part of the riot in the American Parliament building, what they call this, the Capitol building, they've all got to probably get off the hook now because the Supreme Court said that actually causing the death of 5 people, including 2 coppers, is that a real crime? I mean, come on, attempted murder.
Yeah,
is that a crime? Do they give Nobel Prizes for attempted chemistry? I think not.
But as someone who studies American politics a bit well, and Scott, you will be able to back me up on this, the Supreme Court judges it's a lifetime appointment. So until someone dies or resigns, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why he's packed.
Or gets enough power to change the Constitution. Like they need an independent judiciary.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, no.
Hang on, stop. Everyone, stop. Emma has joined the chat. Thank you. I met up with Emma yesterday because we've been having a bit of an ongoing row on this channel about Trump's chances of winning. And Emma said, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I agree with Graham. Biden needs to go if they keep him at risk. So, yeah, we'll meet in the middle. Let's get rid of Biden and we can all calm down a little bit. We could all, like, our blood pressure could all just come down a little bit. I don't know. There's still a chance he might win, but I think with a decent candidate, the Democrats should walk this election.
Yeah, if they follow Biden's policies and deliver them with a better cadence and a bit more showbiz, then I think they will.
Yeah, well, that's one of the problems they're having at the moment. Biden needs to really communicate what his achievements have been. Like, why the economy is so good right now is because of him, not because of Trump. And that is a big problem he is having, not communicating that. And that could end up going badly for him. I unfortunately think this election might be closer than we like, but he needs to start communicating really what he's done during his time, because he's had a lot of successes and he just hasn't communicated them enough. And that's what he really needs to do. And that debate was a chance to really do that. And that's the disappointment. That's where it'll hurt him, possibly. Not potentially lose it, but he's got chances to pull this back. Like I say, there's going to be another debate. I don't know when it is.
It's in September.
So you've got September to try and pull it back. So he's got another chance to sort of perform there.
Darren, can you turn your mic off? We're getting some background interference. Sorry. I think someone's talking to you. Unless you want to say something.
When is there when is the conference, like what do they call it?
The Republican conference.
Convention. Next month.
Because that's
Oh, I think it might be August, actually. I think it's August, so it's the month after.
So they've got July to find someone. Yeah. I mean, that's not a lot of time. And
that's assuming, but that's assuming they even want to. I think they're fairly split, aren't they? I mean, wouldn't they at this point at least have to agree that even, it's a bit like, I suppose, when you sort of as a, run a football club and you sort of know you're getting rid of the manager, but you back them until you've sorted it out. Do they behind closed doors realise they need to do it, or are they genuinely split? In which case,
Alan Poe, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. But yeah, so did anyone watch the question time with Farage just then?
Yeah, I watched it.
Did you see the bit where he said the guy who said all those horrible racist things and was filmed undercover was an actor working for Channel 4?
Yeah,
to make him look bad.
It was the first one, wasn't it? It was the first.
And they were like, "Well, what about all these other candidates who have all said horrible
never mind
things?"
that. Never mind that.
Oh, really?
There's a photo of him campaigning for Howard Cox in the London mayoral elections. He's been a long time Reform UK campaigner.
But the guy
and
that
also
was an actor.
Sorry?
The guy he claimed was an actor.
Yeah, he is an actor, as in he's acted. But at the same time, he wasn't acting on the channel. Like, Farage is trying to suggest that Channel 4 put him up to it. Yeah. But it's really simple. If Channel 4 had done that, that actually would be really serious.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, my goodness me. Oh, my goodness. And people like Farage and Tyson, definitely Aaron Banks, they don't mind lawyering up. Oh, you say something they don't like. Oh, they'll get the lawyers out. So I can only assume that they will be getting the lawyers on this immediately. Oh, they haven't got any lawyers on it.
That's funny, fair play to Fiona Bruce for actually pulling him up on it and doing some push.
Pulling him up on it.
She did list people.
But even so, it's like you don't. They've let him sit on that panel with no reason to let him sit on that panel and tell those lies anyway. Yeah. People aren't watching that and thinking, Fiona Bruce disagreed with him, therefore Farage is a massive liar.
Sarah in the chat's just saying if the king dies, it would stop the election. Yeah, it would, but they wouldn't embargo that till midnight because that'd be weird. Like, why would you announce that at midnight? So
I'll tell you for why. So all the newsreaders can get their black suits in the studio.
Yeah,
That's a
but
fact.
when
That's a fact.
the Queen died, the suit's already there. When the Queen died, it was like 6 o'clock in the afternoon that they announced it.
No,
If you
no,
remember
it weren't
correctly-
because
Remember correctly, at 1 o'clock, there were rumors going around that the Queen had died.
Yes,
Because
because during, I think it was Prime Minister's questions or during the Parliament that
there was
day.
a debate. It was an energy debate.
there was a piece of paper that was passed around that said probably the Queen has got a few hours left.
Yeah,
a good friend of mine changed whilst in the studio. Went to the ad break, came back in a black suit.
Yeah. That's what
just
you need
like
to
you
do.
have.
Hmm?
You're wearing a black suit.
No, I'm wearing a tweed jacket, bro. Look.
Is it
That doesn't
tweed?
look
We can't
tweed
really
to me,
tell.
bro.
Was that
Oh.
Hugh Edwards? Was your friend Hugh Edwards? Hashtag just saying. Cozy's here. Cozy.
I just saw laughing faces, but I have no idea what you. Oh my God, Wayne! Have you
They're laughing about death. They're horrible people.
Yes, well, we're not. We're not. We're not.
What were you all laughing about?
Death.
My tweed jacket.
Yes, that's the one. One of the two.
My tweed jacket.
No, just noticing.
It's all right. Have you always had a skinhead?
Yeah. I'm always bald. I've been bald for ages. That's why you
Have
normally
you
see
usually
with a
have a
hat on.
beanie on?
No, I normally have a hat on of some sort.
Yeah, that's why I don't think I've ever seen you without a hat before.
Yeah,
I thought you've literally just shaved your head.
Well, I did earlier, so that's why I've not got a hat on.
All right. Okay.
But no, I'm
and you've
very
managed
bald.
not
It's
to
just when my
swear
head-
yet.
No, he's been very good.
Okay,
No,
Graham
close.
has.
That's one. But it's my channel, so I'm allowed to.
I
I think I swore once, but I got away with it.
Last night? No, you didn't. You went mental.
Do you think what last night during the debate? Well, it was one of those where I thought, listen, I'm not going to be able to monetize this because obviously it's got streaming on it. So if I'm doing a stream where I'm just commenting on something else, usually I get a copyright notification the next day off YouTube to say, right, you can't put adverts on that.
Yeah.
But this, I can put adverts on it, and that's why I'm like, you can swear now and again. It's just because it's an American platform. I think you cannot use the C-bomb because they really don't like that.
But the thing is, and this is the thing that I have with my American pals. I've said to you before, we use it as a term of endearment.
Yes, Well, that's something that James.
Not everyone does, though. I'm not trying to be funny, but not everyone sees that word as just something you can throw around.
Yeah,
it's actually a really offensive word. A lot of people find it very offensive. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to come for you. I'm not trying to be like rude, but that's the truth of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean?
No, I get
well,
that.
John Oliver mentioned it this week when he did his big rant, which was brilliant. Where he pulled out his brolly and he didn't have a brolly, did he? He just got wet.
It was just splashing in the water on his desk.
In the preamble to it, he mentions the fact that in the UK we use the C-bomb like affectionately for people. It doesn't have the same kind of devastating effect that it does in America.
It's
context is
very
important.
Oh yeah, context is everything. Yeah.
In America, it's considered highly offensive. Highly.
It's also weird hearing Americans say it.
Yeah. Well, that's because they don't say it.
Hornet in the chat is saying the C word is very offensive. That's why I'm tactically voting for non-Tories. Very good. I see what you did there. But yeah, it's
that's like the old thing, isn't it? Tories putting the N in cuss.
Yes, indeed.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, they do. But yeah, sorry, Cozy, we were just talking about Frogglebox, what's his name? Farage has just been on Question Time, and he got absolutely hammered by the audience. Like every question was hostile to him. Nobody liked him. He didn't put himself across particularly well. He sounded really argumentative and angry and stupid.
Yeah, he was wobbled massively.
Yeah.
On Twitter, obviously the Gam-Gams were instantly saying that they were planted left, far left.
It's always a conspiracy. Yeah, but people say this every time a Tory. Look, people do this in the chat. No offense to our wonderful socialites in the chat, but every time we're watching Gogglebox or Quagglebox, whatever, quick question time, people are like, "Oh, it's a plant," and I'm like, "Actually, half the population of this country vote Tory." So
exactly.
if you're putting towards an audience together, there's a good chance.
They walk amongst us.
Yes,
they're not plants.
They're not all plants.
Some of them,
you don't need to plant.
Question time. Some of them are. Some of them are really obvious.
Sarah's suggesting that I should claim for loss of earnings against the Tories and Farage for causing me to swear.
The other thing to bear in mind, when you've got a programme like Question Time, it's politically engaged people who are more motivated to want to go on it.
Yeah.
No one goes to all the trouble of thinking, in 8 days or however long you have to do it. Should we have a little trip to the BBC studio to be bored fucking stupid all evening? So you're largely getting people who want to have their say, and therefore they're politically engaged anyway, because it's a hassle.
All right, ruin it for us all, Phil. Thanks.
There was a news story about the BBC spending 30 grand on the audience of the leaders' debate. It was on the front cover of one of the newspapers today, one of the Gammon newspapers, one of the Gammon Press. And the mad thing is, I'm like, yeah, that's how much it costs, because you've got to cover the expenses of people getting to York or wherever the debate
claim
was.
Specifically in the Express was not just that they paid them £130 non-heckling fee.
No. What I thought it was. Oh, it might have been. That's
what the Express said.
I think that was because of the disruption outside, and they were given some compensation towards it.
Well, I mean, I don't take.
But that's impressive.
I'm sorry, I've got to ask Phil.
Yeah.
That badger is gorgeous. What's the story?
I just needed something calming over the last couple of days. It's been a bit shit in politics.
I
like badgers. Well, I do.
Bring out the badgers. Chat. Bring out the badgers.
Badgers.
Okay,
it's
why
really
is
because
badgers? What have I missed?
Well, no, nothing.
It's the mascot of the channel.
Darlings.
The mascot of the channel.
That's going to be mascot of my channel.
It's going to be mascot of my channel, Phil.
No, I'll do it first.
I'll do it first.
You're arguing about who gets the badger.
Phil and Graham fight out over the badger.
How about, Phil, you have a traditional badger and I'll have a honey badger.
Yeah, sure. I don't like honey badgers.
Yes.
Now,
honey badger doesn't give
it's only really because when I was young, I was a big fan of.
So it's perfect for this channel.
Wind in the Willows, and the badger character is my favourite character in it.
Why is Badger?
The one who put Toad in his place.
Toad, who is remarkably like Nigel Farage.
Yeah,
badgers are surprisingly large.
Except Toad, to be fair, was fairly amiable. He was just a knob.
It's the only way to travel, you know. Thank you very much to Emma Price. Woo, Emma, thank you so much. I need to say this. I recognise there was racism against Sunak, which is absolutely disgusting. I don't condone, but I have no sympathy. Sunak has been absolutely disgusting to the trans and disabled community, and now he is going for sympathy.
Well, the other thing is, I didn't comment.
Thanks for the super chat, Emma.
When Rishi Sunak eventually said what he said this afternoon, because this morning he was just, and I actually said in my video, it's like he wasn't even attacking the fact that Farage racially abused him. He was just going on about this Putin line. Then, to be fair, it was either late morning or early afternoon. He did, and he said, and he used the word as well for emphasis and said, my daughters had to see that. And I didn't want to comment on it because I thought, in isolation, what you said was exactly right. However, he then sent on Anne-Marie Trevelyan to be interviewed, where they were asking her, so how come it's wrong for this guy to say that for Reform UK, but it's all right for Frank Hester to say what he said? And she did not get through that. So basically, we're getting the view that the Tories think racism is all right for a fee. It's only a problem when you don't pay for it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was kind of the same with Kemi Badenoch this week with the
John's here. Hi, John. How you doing, mate?
What's going on, John?
John, patriotic Glastonbury.
That's it. I'm off to get a beer. Are you in Glastonbury, John?
No, I'm not important enough to go to Glastonbury.
Never am I. Had to passing. I've been 15 times, so I must be kind of important in the past, but no longer anymore. It's all right. The lineup this year is beyond shite. I keep looking at it on the BBC, and it's upcoming, and I know it's probably an age thing, but I'm not. I don't.
It is, unfortunately.
I honestly, if I ask my stepdaughters if they know who 17 is, I think they're going to say no. I think they're going to go no.
None of my boys want to go. I've got a 25, a 21, and an 18-year-old. They do not care about Glastonbury. It's just like because it's old people's music.
Oh, there you go.
Glastonbury.
Yeah, music from the 90s.
Yeah.
Coldplay.
Yeah.
Would you like to be serenaded by a posh choir boy, sir? No.
I wanted to go Glastonbury once when I spoke to my guitar teacher, Joe, who plays in Hazy Dixie. He said he would live there. If that was like an actual village, he'd live there. And he said, yeah, but you have...
I've gone deaf from that name, that clanger drop, of
Ting! But he said it takes him an hour to get from one side of the site to the other in mud. And I was like, I ain't about that. No.
Well, it seems dry there at the moment.
Yeah,
well, we're being asked by JP in the chat, what does Nigel Farage have in his garage? I think a stack of dead bodies, probably.
I think
he feeds on.
Sex dungeon.
Oh, no.
Where is his garage?
I'll tell you what he's got in his garage. He's got his chauffeur-driven car. That's what he's got in his garage.
With his chauffeur has to live in the car.
Non-Euro compliant Rolls Royce.
Yeah, no, it's a BMW, which he occasionally parks in a disabled spot, or he gets his chauffeur to park it.
Jag.
But I think because he's running for Clacton, I think that Nigel Farage's garage is in Harwich.
Oh,
very
with
good.
A Mark III Escort.
You've got to be local to get that one. I'm afraid. Sorry, those of you up north.
So, John,
I get pulled up on this all the time because I'm really inconsistent with Nigel Farage because there is this north-south thing. So being northern, I say garage, and like Graham, you say Nigel Farage, like we'd say garage, but I say Farage, and that's just because I heard his name long before I saw it written down. So I'm like,
but he wants people to call him Farage.
Oh, he says he don't care. He don't care. He said he don't care.
Okay.
But so I say Farage, but garage. So none of those work with me.
But yeah, John,
your garage is a way of being a little bit rude to him.
Yes.
I thought you were about to say garage is a way of life.
Not as respectful as you would be to him if you liked him.
That's why whenever I tweet about Lawrence Fox, I always call him Loser Fox, Looza, or I spell his name wrong on purpose. Loza. No, he does it.
Double O.
He does double Z. I do double O for his name, but also always write Lawrence with a W. Out of disrespect for him, I can't. I always feel like this: if people spell my name,
as opposed to Badenoch.
If people spell my name incorrectly, like in an email to me where literally my name is on the email, I kind of get a little bit me back up about it. I'm like, I find it quite disrespectful. I don't know.
But Graham, if you say it Loza, isn't that Loza?
No, he says L-O-O.
L-O-O-Z-A. Loser. Because he calls himself Loza Fox. He was in the news today. He's supporting Refuck, and he's an actor.
His spelling.
Well, the thing is, Lawrence Fox has not done Nigel Farage any favours today, because Nigel Farage is trying to argue that because this guy's an actor, it must be a woke leftist stitched up because all actors are left-wing lovers, and then Lawrence Fox exists.
Yeah,
indeed.
Well.
Yeah,
where was it I looked? Where was it? Burnley? No. Can't remember now.
No.
Oh, right.
Give us a clue, Cozy.
Do you remember we had in our WhatsApp chat, we were talking about the candidates.
Barnsley, you're thinking of Barnsley South.
Barnsley, and you would start with me. Have you had a look? Have you had a look at the list of candidates?
I soon can do.
No.
Oh, is this the one that George Galloway is standing in? Is he?
No, it's Rochdale.
No, it's not George Galloway.
Is he standing in?
He is standing in Rochdale.
He's in. Is it Bradford, Bolton, Bradford? I think.
No, he's Rochdale.
Bradford.
Anyway, Barnsley.
I thought it was Bradford.
No.
Yeah, Galloway is in
He's
Bradford.
been in Bradford before. He's all over the place.
If you look at the candidates in Barnsley, which. And the reason I looked
Barnsley.
it up is because one of you guys, Barnsley South, I think it is, shared a graphic that showed Reform winning in Barnsley South.
Yeah.
And if you look at the candidates, it's mind-boggling. There's a black woman standing for English Patriots and UKIP. Look them up.
I'm actually looking.
Maxine
so we've
something
got,
or other.
There's a
I mean, the
Maxine
Green
Spencer.
candidate hasn't even put a picture up. For
Yeah,
God's sake.
I'm just looking at the list, so I don't have photos. But there's a Maxine Spencer, who's one of the idiots who actually put her full address down. I don't know why do candidates do that? Patriots Alliance, English Democrats, and
there's a
UK.
reason.
So the whole list, if I go down it, there's a right list. You've got Simon David Watson Bitcliffe, who's of the Yorkshire Party. So that's the thing in Yorkshire.
I mean, I'm rooting for him. Yorkshire Party for the win.
They're a bit
Simon Bilcliffe is a really interesting guy. I've met him a few times.
Really?
Really interesting guy.
There's a few parties embellished their names. Like you've got Simon Clement Jones, Liberal Democrats for a Fair Deal, so they put like their logo in it. Then you've got Anthony Main, Green Party, Louise Peacock, Labour Party, Suzanne Pearson, Conservative Party, Terry Robinson, Socialist Labour Party, then the Maxine Spencer, and then of course Andrew White's Reform UK. So it's a fairly standard list for somewhere like Barnsley.
If you see a picture of Maxine, you'll see
I'm
why
looking at it now. This
my
is
brain
crazy.
just melted.
Maxine, what's her surname?
Spencer.
Maxine
Spencer.
And she's standing for who?
Barnsley. Patriots Alliance, English Democrats, and UKIP. It sounds like a bit of an amalgam.
I've got some bump here that's been posted through my door the last couple of days, and this geezer is an independent. His name's Stephen Burnett, and it's like his slogan is "Vote for someone like you." I was like, "Come on, that is the most blatant dog whistle ever."
This was like the guy in Northern Ireland a couple of weeks ago. Vote to make crime illegal.
But I'll turn it over, and everything is just about immigration.
Yeah, I've had a Reform UK flyer come through mine. It's the only one. Round here, there's been
I bet every party's flyer.
One Conservative one, which actually, to be fair to old Nick Fletcher, says it's from the Conservative Party in nice big letters and it's in blue. It's quite remarkable. It's the first one I've seen.
That's my Reform one. Lovely.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same one everywhere. They put the candidate's name, not their photo. The candidate's name there, and then it's Nigel Farage and Richard Tice.
So what's the story with this Maxine Spencer? Why is she?
It's just
Have you seen a
because
picture of
she's
Maxine yet?
clearly not white, and I
Yeah.
noticed it on her picture and noticed who she's standing for.
So she's a Northern Kemi Badenoch.
And it's just a bit of an in to what I want to talk about, which is
UKIP or the English Democrats.
I mean, with
Well,
the
the
whole
other thing
point
is,
of having
Reform
a
was the
society,
successor to
cozy,
UKIP.
the whole point of having a society where everyone is equal and we strive for equality is that then black people can be racist too.
There is that.
100%.
But it's also just a nice in to kind of look at some of these other. I was surprised because isn't Reform the successor to UKIP?
Yeah, but what happened is they left UKIP
Kind of
with
broke
all
up,
the
didn't
obvious loonies.
Yeah.
So that's why they have a new leader every
Forward.
6 months.
Yeah.
They're just taking it in turns now to be leader.
Do you want to hear what the Reform UK candidate said in my hustings this week?
Go on.
Go on.
It won't surprise you, but this is in Essex, a Reform UK. So Wayne, this won't shock you at all. This woman, I can't remember her name. There was a question about green. There's a green issues question that came up, and someone brought up electric cars. What the candidates get ideas towards electric cars and getting that sort of thing. Everyone answered it quite normally. Even the Tory John Whittingdale was like, yeah, blah blah blah. She pipes up and she goes, well, I used to have an electric car, but I got rid of it because I could never tell when it was going to run out. And
What? Apart from the big display on the front of the car and the fact that it shows you on the map screen where all the charges nearby are and how long it'll take to get there.
So they're no good. Electric cars. I tried one. I can't be accused of not. I've actually tried one. I bet none of you have. And she's going out going.
But now
None of you have tried an electric
I think
car.
she bought a 1970s milk float.
And she's just going. She's going. Yeah, I could never work out when it was going to run out. They're no good. And like people going, every car since the Dark Ages has a fuel gauge of some description. Like, what are you talking about? And then she goes, yeah. And then so, and what do they do with the batteries at the end? What do they do when the batteries run out? And like, so we were going,
You
recharge
recharge
it. Like, what?
You take it out.
She thought it was
one.
one go. She thought it was one go. She thought I have to change the battery once it runs out.
What you should have done is got up, got your mobile phone out and gone like that.
Yeah, I mean,
the car.
Astounding.
Did people laugh at her? Tell me at least everyone in the audience laughed at her.
Oh, she was just. I mean, it was funny. To be fair, it was because she just.
I have a very
came
dim view of Essex, I have to say. So you're gonna have to assure me of these things.
No, this won't help. I'm afraid. The other classic one was.
I'm coming to Doncaster on Monday, so I'll be up in your area.
But she's also she didn't like food banks because the wrong type of people use food banks, and
hungry.
They also cater too much for pets.
Food banks.
Can I tell you a story?
They don't want you eating your own dog.
Can I tell you a story? Can I tell you a story real quick?
Go on.
Guys, this week, I've been unemployed now for about 7-8 weeks. I've been shadowing at a barbershop, so I'm trying to get my skills back up so that I can get myself a barbering job. And I've been applying for accounts roles, which is what I used to do before. I had a couple of interviews so far. I've not crossed the line. I signed on this week because I'm running out of money. And I applied for an advance. I was told that I was not eligible for an advance. And
really?
I think this is because I got an advance last year and I haven't paid that advance off yet because the last job I had was only for 3 months. So they didn't have time to get it all set up to take the money out of my pay. And so, yeah, I had to call to make an appointment to go and meet my work coach. And
I've got one of them.
So then
I've got one of them.
Cool. And when I spoke to this woman on the phone, after I made the appointment, I said, listen, the computer told me, when I applied online that I could not get an advance. I don't have any money left. I don't have any savings or anything like that. And I'm not going to get my benefit until the 1st of August. So is there any way that, that something else can be done? She goes, well, you could probably apply for something with the council. But other than that, we have a listing of food banks that you can use. And I just thought,
Jesus,
the government is literally relying on charities. Instead of giving an advance to someone, you know what I mean? They would rather I use a food bank. They're directing me to go to a food bank.
Bloody hell.
They will direct you to a place that will give you a food bank voucher.
Well, I think the job center
rather than give you an advance.
Yeah. I've never been to a food bank.
Yeah, I've had to use one. It's very, very humbling. I mean,
well, no, I mean, when I was young, my mom we were very poor growing up. So I've been in those situations when I was growing up, like where we had to go get free clothes, I had to go get free food and things like that. So this isn't something that's going to like embarrass me. It's not about embarrassment. I'm embarrassed about the fact that we are living in a country where the government would rather charity pick up the slack for their not supporting somebody. I have worked my whole adult life. Yeah. And now I'm trying to change careers. So things have been a little bit, like employment wise, it's a little up and down. It's been very feast and famine. But, to sort of be told, well, you probably had an advance before, so that's probably why you're not getting one now. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter that you have no money. go to a food bank and see what you can get.
Yeah.
That goes right back to Cameron's idea of the big society. This country has a massive over reliance on volunteering and charities.
It's ridiculous.
And generally in this country, charities are picking up what should be the government's responsibility on a grand scale, an absolutely massive scale.
Yeah, so, this is a very American way.
There's an app that I use. It's called Too Good to Go, and it's basically you like check how many boxes they've got, and they'll put a box out of like the food that it's perishables, but you pay I literally paid £3.30 for like a week's worth of food. I was like, I'll have that.
There's also an app called Olio. Oh, sorry, I lost my video there for a second. There's also an app called Olio, which is similar, and it's usually free.
Okay.
Or you could go to my mum's shop.
I'm not coming on here to say I need money and I need help or whatever, right? I'm just trying to explain that, like, when a woman in Essex sits there and says not the wrong kind of people use food banks, she's potentially now talking about me.
Yeah.
Scott, she's talking about me as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. She was batshit.
Disgusting.
She was batshit, absolutely beyond batshit. This woman.
But the thing is that the reason I think is worth mentioning apps and things like that is because there are maybe viewers that what you just said is resonating with, and that would find this information useful. So
true. Yeah, no, of course. And sorry, I wasn't trying to make it complete about myself, but I like
but Scott, you said you would. But Scott, you said, can I tell you a story? So go for it.
Well, no, okay, yeah. But what I'm saying is, I'll figure it out. Hopefully, hopefully something will come up soon, and it won't be in such a bad situation. But I just love the fact that you're a bold barber. That sort of stuff in our group chat. That'd be great.
So,
but I'm just my point was to what John said. This crazy woman is saying, and it's like, well, that just offends me because I've worked my whole adult life.
Yeah. Well, not only that, Scott, you were watching Question Time. You're clearly not born in the UK. You're the reason why there's any problems in the UK, according to Nigel Farage.
Well, Nigel Farage kissed my ass because my mom is English, my dad was English, right? And my grandfather fought in the Second World War. I have probably deeper roots in this country than Nigel Farage ever
Scott,
had.
With all due respect,
but your accent, bruv. Your accent.
Did you pop out your mum in that time zone of like 5 hours behind GMT?
What?
Which time zone were you born in? What time zone? In America, you were born in a different time zone to me.
Yeah, you were.
As is anyone born in British summertime?
Meridian.
Any of you summer babies?
Acceptable.
I don't. The only British people I regard as British are people born on this rock. This one, not on the others in the archipelago, and they have to be born under GMT.
The problem
if they're born
with that,
under BST,
Graham,
they're not British.
Graham, the problem with that
it's all about the time zones.
Is Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boris Johnson was actually born in America.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In this country,
he's not British and will never be.
I could become the prime minister if I wanted to.
But he's not proper England, is he?
I should be the prime minister
of England. Are you actually a British citizen?
I think, you could also be president of the United States. You could be president of the United States, and you could be the prime minister.
Both.
Be both.
You could be the Manchurian candidate, Scott.
Scott, are you actually a British citizen? So you're not.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were just like me, a foreigner.
No. Sorry, I have a British passport.
Okay.
And an American passport. I have two passports.
You were born in New York, weren't you?
Correct.
Yeah, so you were an Englishman in New York.
I was a little. Well, my dad was.
Was he a legal alien?
Well, he was a legal alien.
I wonder what the rules are. Could Scott actually be president of America and Prime Minister of Britain at the same time?
Not at the same time, I don't think.
Not at the same time.
How good would that be?
Oh, that'd be great.
It would be.
We wouldn't.
Oh my God, we'd have the best time. What are you talking about?
You wouldn't have enough time in the day
but
to
you have
do
to
the
give me the
jobs.
vote first. You've got to enfranchise me first.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I really wanted to talk about tonight is, for all those people who are going voting next week, all you lot voting next Thursday.
Told you what I'm doing, Cozy.
You what?
Told you what I'm doing. I told you what I'm doing.
I know what you're doing. When you go and vote in your voting decisions, please consider migrants who are long-term residents like me and who aren't allowed to vote. And I've put a link to the website in our chat, Graham, if you want to look it up in our WhatsApp chat.
Vote.
Yeah.
There's an initiative called Migrant Democracy, and they're calling for voting rights to be based on residence rather than citizenship.
Taxation. No taxation without representation.
Exactly. We pay all the taxes.
You pay tax in this country, you should get a voice.
Exactly. At least if you've got ILR, if you've been here for more than 5 years, if you're only going to be here a couple of years, okay, fair enough, never mind. But if you're a long-term resident, somebody who's lived here for 5 years, you have indefinite leave to remain, you're eligible to naturalize if you wanted to, and if you could afford it, if your country of origin allows dual nationality, and whatever other parameters people have.
This is all a pointless argument, though. There's a much easier argument. We already give the vote to non-British citizens who do not even have residential rights. If you are a citizen of a Commonwealth country, you live here, but you don't have to have permanent right to live here, but you can still vote in general election. So we already have the principle that we give foreigners, or white foreigners, that we give the right to foreigners to vote in general
not
elections.
necessarily white foreigners.
No, it's Commonwealth.
It's all Commonwealth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, because my nan and granddad could vote, and they're from Montserrat.
Yeah.
So
that's because they're Commonwealth countries. They're former colonies.
Commonwealth, it's a territory.
Oh, Commonwealth is still, Montserrat's still a territory of the United Kingdom.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
They've got.
Sorry.
So, I love you.
Ollie's got to go. Ollie,
you've got to go and jump.
You didn't tell us your story of the week or nothing. We've been neglecting poor Ollie.
Ollie, give us your story of the week.
Oh, Miriam Cates.
What?
Yeah.
What did she do?
So,
what didn't she do?
There's been a rumor flying around over in Penistone and Stocksbridge for quite some time that the local Conservative Party had abandoned her, and she pretty much confirmed it when she wrote an article for Conservative Home where she admitted having to get volunteers to help her come canvass all the way from London and the South.
And the South. Where's this London that's not in the South?
So not only has CCHQ abandoned her, but
did they all
her
get
own
nosebleeds?
local Conservative Party seems to as well.
Bill, I think she means the home counties, like.
Right, I see.
Well, is she going to lose? Does she
she's going to lose all day long.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic! I never have to see a stupid, gormless.
Ironically, at the moment, Labour, now that we're into the last few days, Labour is starting to panic a little bit because they're going to lose someone quite big, Debonair.
Really?
So even though they're going to win big, well, she's Bristol Central.
She's going to lose to the Greens.
Very likely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
It's Bristol Central at the moment.
So it'll be like one of those things where they're going to win big and, they're going to get this big thing, but you're going to have all the tankies going,
Who's that? Who is that?
Thangam Debonair. So she's the shadow culture secretary. So we're going to need a new culture secretary. Well, we're going to need a culture secretary.
Oh well, that'll be
shuffled anyway.
That'll be a bit of copium for the poor old tankies.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. They'll be cheering that.
I
it's unusual for them. They usually like cheering losses as moral victories, but they'll I don't know what they'll do with themselves when they actually win a seat. But there you go.
Okay, so thanks to Ollie, Bottle Hat Man. You're an absolute legend, and hopefully we'll see you again
soon,
on
Ollie.
Tuesday for the last Geoscope before the
Come
general
join
election.
me tomorrow on the last Good Morning Walk of the Conservative government.
Yes! What time's that going to be, Ollie?
8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning. Excellent.
8 o'clock in the morning. Love it. Couldn't be more normal.
Head over to Ollie's channel to go and see that.
Thing is,
Right, Nelly.
All right.
what if the
All
Conservatives?
right, see you, Ollie.
Oh,
Yeah,
see you.
right.
Oh, don't say
Bye,
that.
Ollie.
Don't say that.
Bye.
Right.
Got a screen thing on.
What if the what if the sun explodes? I mean,
Oi, oi.
oh bloody hell! All right, Tam. They just kind of appeared like Rent a Ghost.
But I love the fact that his
Timothy
head was above
Cole.
the she/her bit.
Yeah.
Hi.
So, just so everyone who's watching this knows, if you want to join the chat, you want to join the socialites in the chat, you just need to subscribe to the channel there and wait about 30 seconds, and then you'll be able to comment. And no bullying and no trolling, please, or you will be banned. You can still watch the channel, you just won't be able to say anything, which will be entirely frustrating, I'm sure. It's Jacob. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat from ages ago. Phil. What do you think of the poll on electoral calculus about Reform UK winning 18 seats?
Rubbish.
I thought you'd say that.
Nah, no chance. Oh, sorry, I'm not
John
Phil.
says no chance. No, that's fine. We've got
already
a rubbish
given
and
my
no chance.
fully detailed answer to that one.
Okay. Tanta the Indian wants to know what the YouTuber Black Belt Barrister and his Tommy Knocker obsession of late. Sorry, not Tommy Knocker. Tommy Robinson. Tommy 10 names. Who hilariously, it turns out, has an Irish passport.
What?
Yeah, that came out after he got arrested for being an illegal immigrant in Canada. Turns out he's actually got an Irish passport and he travelled on the Irish passport. So when he was telling people to vote out of the EU, he knew it wouldn't.
They went and
affect
nicked
him
one
because he would remain having an EU passport.
He who remains.
He remains. And we've also got Tim Ballon there. Can the Home Office stop Tommy 10 names returning to the UK? Yes, probably, because he's a criminal and we don't want him. And, if we're going to... I mean, we need to talk about what Farage said in question time. How is he going to get refugees... how is he going to get them taken back to France? His response was, we'll use the Royal Marines.
But basically invade France.
Yes.
Invade. And in fact, he won't, because obviously, Royal Marines, what's he even playing at? Does he know what a Marine is? But they would refuse it because it's an illegal order.
Yeah. Alexander Campbell, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Miriam Kate, the North does not remember. Cheers for that. And also, One Angry Pagan, just £1 because. Thank you very much, One Angry Pagan. Any more news on the news embargo?
No, I'm starting to see quite a few of tomorrow's newspapers come out. I'm checking on tomorrow's papers today.
Yeah, I'm checking on that.
A lot
as
of them
well.
coming out, so I'm not seeing anything obvious. So
so far, we've got the Eye, we've got the Independent, we've got the Daily Mail is out, so it can't be one of the.
The Daily Mail's doing Boris's. They're going back to Starmageddon. Boris, Britain can still swerve Starmageddon.
No, but we want Starmageddon for the Tory party.
Is it a blanket embargo or is it?
No.
It's just certain newspapers don't want their headlines read out before midnight.
Yeah, they want to say
they've got a scoop.
They obviously think they want to. Exactly. They want people buying their papers, not finding all about
then
it.
Then it's got to be an investigative thing, isn't it? It can't be.
Maybe.
But it'll have to be across a couple of titles.
Yeah.
The Times isn't there?
Do you know what papers it is?
No.
I can only the Times and the Guardian, like
be, because I've not.
Could be about Russell Brand again.
Maybe.
Because it can depend on.
I was going to say that all went quiet, didn't it?
What?
The Russell Brand scandal that went quiet.
Well, Bear Grylls lost his job. Well, I say his job. He's not the chief scout anymore.
Is that what happened after he baptised him or something mad in the Thames?
Yeah. Don't look good. Want a good look for the scouts.
Yeah, well, they've all got to stick together that lot, haven't they?
Could it be the? It's not the Sun. It was the Sun that come out. So I'm talking about the paper.
Whenever they ever done an investigation or anything?
No, because I remember this is what happened in '97 when they did an embargo, and then they came out before the election to say, "Hey, give Blair a chance."
I see. I don't think they're doing that this time.
No, the Guardian's not there. We've got the Independent and the Mail, so we're still missing the Times, the Guardian, the Express, the Telegraph.
0.2 hours, guys.
Daily Star's out. Man baby beats up doddery old bloke on live TV.
Would that be Ian Dale?
Oh, the Telegraph's out. I can see the Telegraph. Biden is given 1 week to stand down. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it's going to be then.
Anyway. Well, you're assuming you've got any news on the front of the Telegraph. Who knows? Do you know what the Telegraph? There's one story that's come out. Presumably it's going to be in the paper tomorrow. They reckon that this VAT on private school fees is against the European Convention on Human Rights, according to Lord Panic. But actually, it's you read the story and you read what actual lawyers say about it. Says that's not what it is at all. A load of bollocks. And even if it were, let us assume that some school went, this is against some human rights, and we're going to take you to the European Court of Human Rights. And the European Court of Human Rights said, yes, this is absolutely against the European Convention on Human Rights. The consequence would be they ask Parliament to consider not applying the VAT, to which Parliament can then go, no.
No, you're right.
The European Court of Human Rights exists to stop executive abuses, but legislatures are sovereign. Well, so it can overrule a minister, something a minister does, but not a legislature.
Well, the thing, I was coming down Lower Thames Street about 8 o'clock this morning, and some geezer came on with Ferrari, saying, "Oh yeah, people are going to pay up front, and Labour are going to stop them doing that." And it's like, well, if you've got the money to pay up front for 5 years of education, I'm pretty sure you can pay for the VAT.
Well, the thing is,
sorry, I've got to interrupt everyone. Sorry, someone's just dropped a £70 super chat in the fund. Thank you so much to Charles Stanhope, the first super chat from him. Thank you so much. Can you buy me a beer at the election party? Bye bye, Tory. So yes, I will buy you a beer, Charles, and I will buy everyone on the panel and anyone who turns up from our show a beer as well with that. So thank you so much. That is so generous. And cheers, the party is next Thursday. It's at the Fire Club in Vauxhall in London. If you can make it along, that would be brilliant. If you want a ticket for it, get in touch with me via grahamdavidhughes.com. There's a form at the bottom of the page. Just let me know and I'll give you the link. If you are on low income at the moment or no income, get in touch. I've got some tickets that have been bought by people on this channel for you if you want to go, including money for a drink or a couple of drinks, and also your train fare and bus fare if you're just coming from London. Sorry, if you're coming down from Aberdeen, we're not going to be able to accommodate you. But yeah, if you're coming from London, we'll be able to get you in. Essex, yeah, Wayne, we'll get you in. Don't worry. John, are you coming? Are you coming for the party on Thursday?
Yes, on the proviso that I might be in the limited 40-person audience on Channel 4.
Oh yes, you mentioned this.
So, I'm apparently on a short list, so I won't know till I think Tuesday. So
is Channel 4 still in the old Channel 4 building, or are they in TV Centre?
It's going to be over in the Hammersmith somewhere actually.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it won't be that far away. Not that far away.
That's a million miles away. You can get from Hammersmith to Vauxhall quite easily.
It would have been better if it was the Channel 4.
I used to live in Vauxhall, Hammersmith.
I think they're both in the same city.
No, but Graham, trust me, traversing London can be I nearly said a word then.
Did you? Difficult.
Yeah,
It can be tricky.
Yeah, it can be quite discombobulating.
No, it's not. It's that simple.
I'll just get an Uber.
Train lines have different colours, and all the streets are all wiggly and stuff. I find it easier, honestly, to get around London than I do to get around places like New York and Melbourne, where they have the grid system and everything looks the same. You know, at least you've got like little facets and twists and turns that stick in my head.
Oh, you could drop me in any part of London. I'd know where I am.
Yeah,
just through work. Yeah.
What if it was a tunnel and it was dark?
Then I'd say, Graham, I'd say, Graham, you've kidnapped me.
You can tell by the lights and how the tunnel is. No, I'm not joking.
No tunnel?
You can.
You really can.
No, but there's no lights. That's what I'm saying. The lights are off.
Yeah, then I'll say you kidnapped me.
And what I've done is I've made sure that your phone's on 1%, so it just turns on for like a second, and then
I'll just give up.
Off
if my
before you can
phone's
turn
on
the torch
1%,
on.
I'll just give up.
Just to do your head in. Anyway, I've overthought this. Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much for the 5-hour super chat. Good evening, you lovely people. Can I point out that Lord Panic is a useless tool?
He's not. But the thing is, he hasn't even said that it would be illegal. The way these things work, the way these papers work, is what they do, right? Is they just get they come up with a load of arguments, and then they go to a lawyer and they say, "What do you think about some of these? Have any of them got merit?" And the lawyer who gets paid for this will look at it and go, "Well, maybe one or two. You could maybe argue your case." And then the Telegraph publish that this eminent lawyer says that it's illegal under European law.
Yes.
Basically how it works.
Do you know what would be really funny? If I was Lord Panic, I'll go on a tour of the UK and I'll go to London, Birmingham, Carlisle, Dundee, Dublin, Humberside. And I'll take photos of myself on the streets of all of those places. Okay, I'm going to move on now. I think John got that joke and nobody else, but never mind. There's a song called Panic by the Smiths.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I don't talk about anything to do with that. Morrissey.
He's sort of disappeared, isn't he, into the
he's disappeared into the weird.
Mustn't have anything to sell this week.
He's always a bit weird.
Yeah. Anyway, Scott, have you got a story of the week, or did we already cover it with the Trump debate?
Actually, I mentioned it earlier. My story of the week was very much going to be the David Tennant having something to say to Kemi Badenoch.
Yes. I agree with the sentiment, but I thought the way he said it was quite clunky, because he said, "I don't want it to exist," which kind of infers that he wants her dead.
Yeah, but
he did, but he then qualified it.
I know,
but kind of realized, oh shit, bad
it was
word.
very clunky language.
Yeah, I wish you would shut up. That was the quote. And and basically, I mean, anybody with a brain knows that what he meant was he didn't mean for her to exist as a politician, and be a thing of someone who is within government who can create policy. I think that's what he meant. I mean, that context is everything, but when you say it in a very clunky way, I can see how the right managed to jump straight on it. It was very funny how this is my story, Wayne.
No, sorry.
Yeah, shut up, Wayne.
I did think it was yeah, Wayne, shut up.
Sorry.
Anyway, this is going to be the funny part. Now, obviously, Kemi Badenoch. Oh my God, Kemi Badenoch. Kemi Badenoch, who defended the Tory donor that had something very horrible to say about Diane Abbott in a very racial way, pulled the race card, pulled the woman card, pulled every card out of her deck she possibly could to come back to David Tennant and say, how dare you tell me to shut up? And very telling how, again, I think you said it yourself, Graham, when it's on them, then it's the thing that, that they do all the time, they get angry about, right? So, it was racist, it was misogynistic, it was all of that. But then when they are actually racist and misogynistic, oh no, not me, I'm not that. That's not what I'm doing, So yeah.
Well, somebody remind me, what's the definition of bigotry again?
Bigotry is when you don't like somebody.
Kemi Badenoch.
A characteristic which Kemi Badenoch.
No, is that double standard?
Yeah.
Exactly
Julia Hartford Brewer, the moron on Talk TV, she decided to have a little rant about it, which was hysterical because she says, Kemi's never said anything anti-trans, and it was like, what?
Do you know if you say her name into the mirror 5 times, she appears behind you?
Yeah, with a hook.
That sounds like a good way to kick it.
I was in her constituency.
That time that she said that all trans women were just men. That time that it was like we were able to list off all these times that she has been blatantly transphobic, and then Julia Harper Berg called David Tennant a bigot, which was hysterical after her and her little friend on Talk TV said some really bigoted, transphobic talking points.
That's kind of cray-cray.
There you go. Wayne.
Thank you. Right. Now.
Was I a white man talking over a black man just now?
Yes, you were. You told the black man to shut up because you had more important things to say.
Yeah.
It was my moment. It was my moment.
No. But it's because I feel very strongly about this Kemi Badenoch character. She is basically being the posh black girl that agrees with the right-wing grifters of the world, will say stuff to appease them, and then as soon as she gets challenged, oh, you're being racist, you're being sexist, you're being sorry, I nearly swore. F the F off. Yeah. Right? Because I'm not having that. I'm not having that. And she's clearly crafted her accent to try and be proper posh, right? And try and be one of the accepted ones, you know, one of the all right ones. And then she comes out with all this stuff that's like proper anti-black, anti-trans, anti-gay. And it's just like, it winds me to F up, because it's like, I'm not calling her a race traitor or anything like that. I think she's just doing it as a grift.
No.
To be in that camp. And when I say people like that, it winds me up. Be who you are.
Yeah. Right? It's important. Sorry, just to go. I had a thought just now, and I wanted to say it. Sorry. When you said about her being anti this, anti that. Sorry, guys. Just completely.
No, it'll come back to you.
It'll come back to me. Sorry, but about Kemi Badenoch herself.
I'm still riffing.
Sorry, it must be incredibly
I see it all the
frustrating
time. Go on.
As a person of color yourself to watch someone do that.
Yep, does my nutting, and it's the same as
Wayne, you're breaking up. Wayne, you're breaking up.
Someone.
Sorry, I was going to.
Wayne, get better internet.
My phone.
It's not my internet, it's Wayne's internet. But no,
I said Wayne, get better internet.
Oh, sorry, this is Graham. Your internet wasn't that good. But it's like when you see your gay men or lesbians going after trans people, and you're like, why are you doing this? These you know,
these are your fucking sisters,
yeah. The bigots who are on the same side as you are not going to stop at the trans people. They'll go after you next. And I didn't expect the leopards eating face party to eat my face.
But you know, we could also say the same thing about Rishi Sunak. We could also say the same thing about James Cleverly. The same thing about that.
I'll say this for James Cleverly though.
Caitlyn Jenner.
I'm really trying hard not to use the word coconut.
But
or banana. Or apple.
What I will say in James Cleverly's defense, however, it's very rare I do this, is so he's not standing up to people in his party, but he has never instigated any of this stuff himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know, people like Kemi Badenoch have. Now, I don't know in cases like hers, what is it? Is it a grift? It could be. I don't know well enough. It could be a grift. She could actually really hate these people or despise them. You know, she could. You know, but for whatever reason, she contributes to that rhetoric. Whereas James Cleverly just doesn't call it out, but he doesn't actually do it himself. I've never heard him do it himself.
Yeah. What is really frustrating is they're also used by the hierarchy, who are clearly going to be all white men, right?
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, not unfortunately, sorry, but again, just what happened just now with this person that used the peace slur against Rishi Sunak.
Yeah.
Well, I'm this, and I'm a conservative. So it shows that those people can be conservative as well. It was very interesting. Pink News did a TikTok video interviewing gay, lesbian, trans people. You'd be very surprised how many people within our community actually vote Tory.
Well, I wouldn't.
It's absolutely frightening.
It is frightening
because it depends what you prioritize. Some people believe they're better with the economy.
It's mostly about money.
I'd like to teach them graphs, but nonetheless,
teach them maths.
But some of them
maths and graphs.
Some of them just believe. They prioritize.
Bring graph diagrams everywhere.
And if they think they, in their own little niche in life, are sort of getting by, and that's more important to them, I can absolutely see that.
It's just frustrating when we as a community for many years have fought against them as of their oppression of us. So you're voting literally for the oppressor. It's the slave voting for the captor. It's what I'm saying.
But you're the slave who gets to, eat the crumbs from the master's table.
But you're the house slave. You know what I mean? So
I didn't want to say it's there is a certain word for it, which is a port.
I know that
word.
Yes, I know that word. I'm not going to say that word.
Yes.
Yes. You're the house.
I'm not going to say that word, but
there's a hierarchy still.
Yeah, you're
within a privilege within that community. And still now, like there are people of color who are living in a higher privileged states. People such as Kemi Badenoch, Priti Patel, etc.
Just before we go on, I've got a couple of super chats that I need to catch up on, and we've also lost John. John, he's just disappeared.
I think
he's still there. He's still there.
We've got Yoni. Thank you very much for the €2 super chat. What the UK needs is a proper separationist party. From who? From ourselves. And also Alan Poe. Mini Me has told me they've got a BSc Biomedical Sciences first class degree, just in case you need to start a state school mafia list in 1 to 2 years' time. Just to move on to this, Jonathan Ashworth was interviewed, and he said that they're going to have the most working class cabinet of all time. Which I can't really check on because it's a bit difficult to know.
Formed technically.
Yeah, to know who's going to be in it, but there's a good chance it'll be the least number of privately educated people in the cabinet for quite a long time.
Maybe ever.
Yeah, maybe ever, which is a step in the right direction. Also, really interesting. Jonathan Ashworth's dad was a croupier, and his mum was a go-go dancer in the bar in which he worked, or the casino in which he worked. That's pretty cool.
I think if Labour get in and do an all front bench, comprehensive school educated group, I think Graham might actually do a sex week.
Yeah, I'll be quite excited about that.
Literally,
we do need more representation for the vast majority of us in politics, arts, culture, sports, everything. Just yes. It needs to happen. If you don't believe me, head over to privateschoolmafia.com. Go and check it out. Just have a look at the list. There's 1,150 people on the list at the moment, and it grows every day. Another website
where can they find your book?
My book on Amazon. Graham Hughes, Man of the World. Just before we go on, I just want to give a big shout out to endthetories.com. This is not stopthetories.vote. They're a different organisation. This is set up by myself and Paul Somerville. And what we're planning to do is set up automated accounts to send out the truth to people who might not ordinarily get to see it because of the way algorithms work. We tend to live in our own echo chambers. And the thing is, we shouldn't have to do this. We don't want to do this. We think it should be illegal, but it's not. And Refuck and their friends are using it now, and they're going to continue to use it over the next 5 years as Nigel Farage, the human tapeworm that he is, tries to burrow himself into the body politic of British mainstream, which he's never really been before. So if you head over to endthetories.com, we could do with both donations, but also your technical expertise. So if you have any qualifications in this zone, in this sort of thing, there is a link there for a Discord server that you can get onto and introduce yourself. Obviously, we're not going to really be kicking it off in a major scale until we're done with the election. But before then, if you can come help us out, that would be fantastic. It is endthetories.com. Although we will be changing the name to stopthebots.uk to the election. Anyway, John's back. John, you went away, but you came back.
Yes, I had a very quick phone call to take. Sorry, guys. I didn't want to just get on the phone and look like I wasn't interested. So
was it the king? How was he?
He's fine. Don't worry about him. He's all good. Yeah.
The embargo is not about him.
He's in the next room.
He's down the road in Fanbridge. You know, it's a bit more posher down there.
Hey guys, I wanted to say really quickly that I know it's completely unrelated, right? But I took an adventure on my bike this week through Essex.
What?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
I took the Woolwich ferry, and I came down the A13. And
I have a question.
All right.
I have a question. How many vote Tory signs did you see?
None.
Yes.
But because I was on a moped of a smaller, I have a 110cc moped, right? I can't really take the motorway or anything. So I went to Wickford.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa!
And I did the country lanes the whole way. I saw more of the Essex countryside than I ever thought I would ever see in my entire life. It was beautiful, I will say that. But my phone had died before I got to my friend's house. So before I could get to my friend's house, I've never been to Wickford before in my entire life, right? I walked into this pub called the Duke, right? And
oh my God.
Everyone in there looked like me. They all looked like me. They all literally looked like me. And I knew I went to the bar that
they don't sound like you though.
The moment I opened my mouth, it was definitely going to be an episode of American Homo in Essex, right? And as soon as I opened my mouth, and the woman behind the bar, who I would describe as a young lady with long artificial blonde hair and the hugest eyelashes I've ever seen in my entire life, with big blown up lips, went, "Are you American?" I have my pint of Coke and a place to charge my phone, please. And I just thought, this is the stereotype. I am literally in the stereotype right now of Essex. It was amazing to see.
You was literally just down the road from me. Wickford is like the next town over.
Oh, because I went through Basildon and who is it that said that they didn't think Billericay was a real place?
Me.
Yeah,
I went through it.
I might have been getting it mixed up with Balamory.
Yeah, I went.
Hang on, you went through Billericay?
I went through the outside of it in the country.
Yeah. If you go down through Barley Lands and you end up like you'll come down. Like if you go, you can go through. Yeah,
actually, news related on Billericay.
Go through Noak Bridge and then.
I thought you two, our resident Essex boys, would truly appreciate that story. So Billericay. Sorry to interrupt the politics.
No, that's awesome.
I thought I'd tell you guys. All right.
So there's a politics story then on that.
Next time you do it, you come to Pitsy. I'll take you up the
Yeah.
Basildon and Billericay. That's Richard Holden, isn't it? They don't want him.
But he's not.
Did you know? This week it was announced. So he's the chair of the Conservative Party, right? So he's basically the administrative head of the campaign, and he managed to get his leaflet sent to the wrong constituency.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It is incredibly unpopular, and Billericay is a very Tory area.
But it's like massively. He can't even get his leaflet sent to his own constituency.
Yeah, he is just the sheer vitriol for Richard Holden, even from Tories in Billericay, is astounding.
So is he going to lose? Is he going to lose? He's going to have his arse handed?
He's going to lose, but the worrying thing is that Reform could snatch it. I don't think they will.
Yeah,
I think they'll push it hard.
I don't think they will.
No, but
I think the problem with Billericay is the people in like the majority of Billericay probably don't vote because they're already established and they're not really that bothered. But North Basildon, yeah, they'll vote. Like Note Bridge, around that sort of way.
Oh, they will.
They'll vote, and they might vote Reform because they're very. And people of North Basildon, please don't think I'm casting aspersions and
right.
No, but you're going to be voting on.
Wasn't me.
You'll be voting on things that you don't really believe, and it's not really factually true. People of my part of Basildon probably won't vote. So I think if the turnout around my way is more than 40%, I'll be astounded.
Nah, no chance.
No.
Not a chance.
What's that?
Darren, you sound like you're underwater.
Your mic is terrible. You sound like a Dalek.
Water.
You got the right mic switched on.
Have you got
a condenser on it?
You sound like you're underwater, mate.
Literally
Do you remember the TV show, The Boy from Space?
Yeah.
The kid, the Peep's father. It was a scary character. You sound just like him, Dazza, and I'm really quite impressed actually.
Bloody hell.
Check your mic, Daz.
So we had the final debate this week between Starmer and Sunak. And Sunak just came across to me, and I know I'm completely biased in this, but he came across as a petulant child. And Starmer came across as like this exasperated sort of headmasterly type who was just like, why do I have to deal with this shit? And but then afterwards I saw some of those Vox Pop polls where they decide who won the debate, and Sunak didn't do as badly as I thought that he actually did in the debate.
That's what
do you think it matters? Does it matter, Phil? Does it matter?
It doesn't. In terms of the polling now, because people have made up their own minds already. The polls are, consistent enough in terms of the general scale of things that, in fact, someone's just been saying tonight. Who was it? May have actually been Dan Hodges, who said he's been talking to some people in Labour and the Conservatives, and they're both resigned to the fact it's going to be basically what the polls are saying, which I'm not quite, because unfortunately what the polls are saying is that the Conservatives will be in second place, but there'll be so many seats that are just really close. I mean, there's quite a few interesting three-way seats. I mean, the Basildon Billericay is basically a three-horse race. There's a few others as well. So there's lots of seats that could be won by small margins. What the Tories are doing this week is effectively just trying to scare the shit out of the undecided voters. For them, it's the difference between do they stay at home and not vote for anyone, or do they come out and decide the Tories are better than Labour or whatever? Does this supermajority fear work on them? They're banging out all these adverts. Oh, Labour are going to put a tax on this and a tax on that and a tax on the other. Maybe Labour should come back and say, oh, well, the Tory manifesto, it's going to put a tax on your toenails. And no one can be asked to read it up, so see how that works on them.
Well, no, because then they'll just be as bad as the Tories.
They will. I mean, what happens to happen is Labour are going to win big this year. There's lots of things they need to fix in the country, and one thing they absolutely have to fix, and they'd say it, so I sort of believe they'd take it seriously. They have to stop this shit at the next election. They have to stop deliberate lying. There's always room for political spin. There's always room for, obviously, no one's plans are really detailed. So being able to say, oh, we think you might do this. So there are going to be a few areas where there's a bit of a grey patch. But telling downright lies, making things up, has to be made illegal with serious criminal consequences.
Yeah. Agreed.
Has to be. Now, we know what's going to happen as soon as they do it. The press will be saying, oh, Labour are in power. This is what we warned you about. They've gone mad with power. They're now nailing everything down so they stay in power forever. The Tories tonight have been saying, if you let Labour in, they will be in for the rest of your life, which basically gives the game away that all their voters are 90 years old plus. But The that's what they're really doing, and that's what the media will do. Everything Labour do to try and fix democracy, and Labour mustn't be scared of that. They mustn't be worried about that. They must say, no, we're actually, stopping you lying.
Well, yeah, Sunak must have used the word surrender about 97 times, and that was fitting in with the new word that they've been told to say. And they've put out this real toxic picture. I don't know if you've seen it. Don't surrender your family's future to Labour, and it's quite grotesque, actually. But yeah, that's what they're going with.
I loved watching it through you on YouTube because you do make me laugh with some of the things that you say. But I think he said the word deliver about 50 times.
Yes.
Like, deliver,
had a little animation for that. I didn't have an animation for surrender, but yeah.
Graham, you want to get one of them sort of old bouncer tickers where they walk through the door and you count how many people in.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we should.
I could think was shut up. Because
to me, because I was shouting too much.
No.
There's so many people in the chat going, shut up, I can't hear the debate. And I'm like, literally, you can watch it on the BBC.
What I meant with shut up it was every time Keir Starmer got into the rhythm of answering the question.
Yeah.
Sunak just shouted something like as you described, Professional Child, or the young lady who was hosting it would interrupt. And it was very frustrating to watch.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to flash up the image that Sunak put out earlier this week. Everyone in the panel here can't see this, but everyone's watching one. It says, "Don't surrender your family's future to Labour," and it's got 3 people with their hands up in the air: an old man and a woman and a child with their hands up in the air, so like they're about to be shot or something. I'm just thinking it's not going to be one of those images that goes down in the history of election wins, is it? It's just shite. It's just like. It's pathetic, and it looks like they're panicking. It makes the Tories look like they're panicking.
I think it's going to be this year's or this election's version of Tony Blair's Eyes. If you remember that from '97?
Yeah, that didn't work. That didn't work.
Yeah. I remember that.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Cool.
The Yoni, thank you very much for the super chat, Yoni. Yoni saying there is a chance to be done with the twats. Take it. So thank you very much for that. Other streaming options are available, and super chats also remember to lick the like button. But yeah,
smash the like button.
Smash it, lick it.
The other thing you can tell as well is that the Tories, where they have surrendered, they've given up on the idea of trying to turn people against Starmer. That's why they've been going at Rayner so much the last couple of weeks, because it's like they've not managed to get. They've not managed to make people think that there's a risk with Starmer. So now it's like, but when Starmer comes in, they're just going to boot him out and put Angela Rayner in charge. So that's the fact that they're going after Rayner so much is because they just failed. They failed to deal with Starmer. And that was exactly why so many Labour, of lots of different types of Labour groups, wanted Starmer to be leader even before they sort of knew he would be able to do this. Partly it was because I knew from a lot of activists in the last election, when people were saying to them, we're not voting for Jeremy Corbyn, and a lot of these were Jeremy Corbyn real fans. And they would say, well, who would you vote for? And they were basically saying Keir Starmer. And that's ultimately, a lot of people didn't believe Keir Starmer would be able to turn the Labour Party around that voted for him, certainly not in my local area, but they believed. They finally just did what I was saying at the beginning, what the Democrats need to do. They just saw that he would be inoffensive to voters.
Yeah.
Boring, just boring.
That's inoffensive, whether boring or not. I mean, just inoffensive. Someone you could, they'd had this leader that was really toxic to the public, even though a lot of these people really loved Jeremy Corbyn. They couldn't see it themselves, but they recognised it. And they just thought, but you've got nothing on Starmer. He's like, he's this lawyer, he's a knight of the realm, he's got all these things. And there's not, he's straight laced. There's nothing you can have on him.
And did you know his dad was a toolmaker?
His dad was a toolmaker.
No
way.
It worked.
Shit.
I'm not sure that works. I'm not sure that works. I need to see evidence of that. I think he's gone a bit too mad on it. But at the same time, it hasn't done any harm. So
he does mention it a lot, though. Bloody hell.
Does. And the thing is, what gets me is he, when earlier in the campaign he got shirty about it when the audience laughed at him, and I said, well, don't say it then if it's something you're sensitive about, because what because it was like making out as if the audience were laughing at his dad or something, and it's like, no, they weren't laughing. It's because your bloody catchphrase.
No,
you keep mentioning it.
You've developed a catchphrase.
So
there's better catchphrases.
Sadiq Khan's dad was a bus driver.
No way. Shut up.
Yeah.
Does that make him uniquely qualified to deal with Transport for London?
Exactly.
Yes. Right.
Did anyone hear? I don't know if anyone listened into LBC yesterday. There was a very hardcore Jeremy Corbyn fan that was really anti-Starmer, and he almost started crying. Did anyone hear that?
No.
That was insane.
Whose show?
About Sheila Fogarty. It was about 2:00 in the afternoon. Okay. I was listening in the car, and I think the question generally was, how's Starmer going to do as PM? It looks like he's going to be PM. And this one guy rang in, and it was just I've tried to find it. I thought someone somewhere has got to have recorded that. That was the most.
That will still be on
the
Global Player. Find the timestamp, and it's there.
Yeah.
It's astounding. The guy you could sense he was about to explode. I mean, literally, his voice was getting higher and higher. And at the very end, Sheila Fogarty just laughed at him. She actually just burst in. She was laughing, going, "Guy, get a grip, Like, stop it, man."
Auntie Shields is good at that.
Oh God! And he went mental. Like, wow, where is it? I've got to get this guy. I'll go back and try and find it, because
you'll find it on the
brilliant.
app.
It was just dial
it back.
It was a great metaphor of how things have gone over the last 5 years.
Was this? Sorry, was this the one comparing Rishi Sunak to a builder?
No.
Oh, that one was a Nick Ferrari.
That was absolutely not a Jeremy Corbyn fan.
No, this
guy was.
I'm sorry, this was the Corbynista. Yeah, sorry.
So who do you think is going to be more butthurt on next Friday? The Tankies or the Tories?
Tories.
Tankies take victory everywhere. They thought 2019 they won the argument, remember?
So they're going to look at this and say we won somehow.
We told you so.
Think about it.
I don't like to get too much into this, because my attitude is that a lot of these people they're not actually the enemy. They're not actually the ones screwing the country over. A lot of them are useful idiots. Some of them are grifters, and quite a lot of them are victims of that grift. But they are not the ones screwing over the country.
They're enabling the people who screw over the country by not allowing any kind of opposition to ever get into power.
They're not responsible for that. They're too feckless to do anything. So I try not to go too much. But what does really get me, because I really absolutely hate deliberate lies and injustice, is when you've got people like, say, Starmer's pro-genocide. He's literally prosecuted genocide. He's gone round the world persuading countries to drop the death sentence. He has saved lives. What have you ever done? Like, even when you've got, like, your fellow Scouser, Ricky Tomlinson, Jim Roy, I keep saying, that's most of what I've seen him in. And, you've got someone like him, and you think, but what have you ever done in your life? Like, you faced injustice when you were younger, but what were you doing? Doing something for yourself. Yeah. And all you'll do is do something for yourself. You've lived your life effectively. You might think you've helped people, but you've helped people you've helped your own mates.
Yeah.
You haven't gone around the country saving people's lives. You didn't take on Thatcher in the courts for free and win. You didn't take on McDonald's in the courts and win. You haven't prosecuted actual genocide. Starmer also, as DPP, when we're going after these phone hackers, he didn't get many of them. He didn't have a strong enough case, but he said, we're going after this. we're going to get as many as we can. You know, so it does get me when they try and make out they're basically saying he's evil, and it's like, none of you have done anything to help anyone other than you and your mates. Yeah. And this guy has a lifetime of it. And things like, normally I would just let these things go, but things like that, when it's that level of injustice, I hate your behaviour.
Well, I had a conversation earlier this week with Femi. We were at a wedding together, and we were having this conversation literally because he thinks that it wasn't ours. He thinks that Starmer is a bad guy, and he is like, Starmer is just in anything he does, it's just for the sake of Starmer. And I pointed out, Phil, I said, this is a guy who went around the world pushing governments to get rid of the death penalty when he didn't have to do that. He was a lawyer. You could make loads more money defending oil companies.
He's proven he's a good lawyer. He's made plenty of money. So he could have gone into any field of law. He could have gone into, as you say, the more lucrative fields of law.
But I do find it funny, especially coming from Femi, when we've already had that conversation of like, hey, if we were on the right, we could be super fucking rich, right? Him looking at Starmer and going, oh, he's just in it for himself. And you're like, well, why didn't he join the Tories then? He'd make loads more money. He'd probably be more popular. He'd get,
and that's why I say, like, of Tony Blair, you know, although, you know, he was basically as far to the right as you could probably be as a Labour leader. But he was a very good he was bloody brilliant as a politician. He could easily have joined the Conservatives and led the Conservatives and been a Conservative Prime Minister. If he were actually a Tory, he would have been in the Tories.
Yeah,
you know, his politics, his own genuine politics would have fit right in as a centre-right Conservative MP.
But that's the way I feel about everyone here. Like, if we wanted to be on the right, we'd just be on the right. Like, why would we bother? Sorry, if we just wanted to make loads of money. If the reason we were in this is because someone was paying us to talk politics. Like,
right, I'm leaving. I'm going to the right.
Already did.
Wayne, you would make an absolute mint, mate. You would Wayne the Tory. That's what they call you on the chat here, mate.
I'll be Wayne Medenock.
Oh, no.
I love that name for you.
Wayne Bednock. Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much for the super chat. I want to see Kunzberg's grumpy mug on Friday. Some other people are saying that she's going to be the one most butthurt in the country. Laura Kunzberg.
No, she's
going to have a face like a bulldog chewing a wasp.
Gullis will be the most butthurt.
Who will?
Gullis. Yeah.
Jonathan Gullis.
Oh, yeah.
Does he really think he's going to win in Stoke-on-Trent?
No.
No, the people that will be, and we won't really know who they are, there are multiple leadership contenders who are going to lose their seats. There are some where we know they're going to lose. I mean, Penny Mordaunt's going to lose. But there are some where it's in the balance. And there's a good chance that at least one of them that should win their seat won't. So they will. So it could be Liz Truss. It could be, you know, hope springs eternal for Kemi Badenoch. I think
if Liz Truss loses a seat, I'm gonna be sad.
I think that's
Jacob Rees-Mogg is the one that I'm going to be.
He's going. He's gone. He's got no chance.
But hang on,
I want to see.
If I may, sorry, Phil.
Yeah, I was just going to say he's gone.
So, but there could be a weird dynamic here because I think Liz Truss will keep her seat.
Do you?
I do. I actually do. I think she'll keep her seat. What if we had a situation where Truss was the most senior one left? Of the Tories. Now that sounds bizarre, I know, but you said Penny Mordaunt very likely to go.
Yeah.
You've got. I mean, what other way? I mean,
Bravo.
Rishi's meant to go, isn't he?
No, I think Sunak will keep his seat, but I mean, he's obviously
not if we've got anything to say about it, Phil. Because we were flying in his constituency yesterday.
I'm not saying he will definitely win.
He walked 20 kilometres.
He's got a decent.
I hatched 4 Pokemon eggs.
Don't forget though, right?
Right, he got his steps in.
1997. Don't forget that the 4 or 5 top dogs that were going to be the leader, none of them made it. Haig, if you look at the programs, Haig wasn't even in the top 8 or 9. He wasn't even near. So You never
Yeah,
know.
Portillo was gearing up to be the next leader, and he lost against Stephen Twigg, who I stood against. I also lost against Stephen Twigg, so I've got something in common with Portillo there. Veg Pie, thank you very much.
A lot. You both travelled a lot on trains.
Yeah, but his travels were paid for by the BBC, whereas my travels weren't paid for by the BBC, but they made loads of money out of it anyway.
Graham doesn't like to talk about his travels.
No. Don't like to mention it. Right, Veg Pie, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. I'm going to the party, woo! But only for a short time due to Mr. Socks, my cat. When would be the best time to be there? Get there for about 9:30 and then be there for 10 o'clock for the exit polls because the place is going to go ballistic when we get the exit polls in because it's going to be glorious to know that it looks like people like what we've just been discussing, Rees-Mogg and others will be losing their seats. I mean, it might not be as big a landslide as we'd like, but if the Tories are down to 100 odd seats,
in terms of the actual polls that are credibly predicting seats, you're talking a maximum of 450-ish for Labour, and that's probably on the upper end of it. So it's not going to be. It could easily be their biggest ever because 1997 was their biggest ever haul of seats. So it could beat that, but it's not going to smash it.
We've got Brad W in the chat. Thank you very much. Penny Morden losing her seat will prove that when you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Oh, that's good.
Good point. I like that. And also we got Johnny Cophead in there. Johnny, I'm going to give you a super chat. I don't want to read this out. Do I have to read this out? Do I have to? Because Johnny's given a super chat.
He's paid for it. Yeah.
Okay, well, you asked for it, mate. Did I hear that Kunzberg was a Boris conquest?
That'd been the other way around.
Oh.
Yeah, I said you don't want me to read it.
Sick in my mouth there.
Exactly. I was trying to protect you.
I'm going in chat and I'm banning it.
See what you've done, Johnny. Wayne's a moderator on this channel, Johnny. I'll have you know. By the way, I just want to say about the party. So I'm going to be streaming from 9 o'clock that night, right through the party. I'm going to have it set up so we've got a room next to the party which I'll be streaming from like this, so it'll just be normal almost, and then I can do a remote. I'll be able to do a remote thing from the actual party itself where I take my phone in and talk to people who are going to be there. We're going to have Marina Perkis and Gemma Forte and Supertansky. Femi's going to be there. Scott, you're going to be there.
Yep.
Wayne, John, possibly.
Yes,
Cozy,
possibly.
Darren, Phil. I don't know. Everyone's going to be there.
I'll pop in online. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, and also, I just want to say, if you, like I said earlier, if you can't afford a ticket but you would like to come, there is a fund basically that's been set up by the wonderful people on this chat to get you in. Just go to grahamdavidhughes.com and give me a message and I'll sort that out for you. And also, I'm going to be in London the next day. So if anyone wants to meet up for lunch in a pub or a cafe, any of my subscribers, any of my patrons or YouTube members, just get in touch, grahamdavidhughes.com, and let's do a meetup because I'm trying to put more social into the politics social because I feel like Brexit and COVID has made us quite antisocial. So I'm trying to fight against that. So I'm going to be down in London on Friday the 5th.
I might be there.
Are we going to do a politics social next Friday?
I'm going to try to. Yeah, I'm going to be staying at a friend's house in London, so I'm going to be taking all my kids over there. I doubt we'll be doing an agenda, Phil and I, because just it'll be too difficult for me to stay awake. I think that long. Scott's got a question.
I have a comment.
Oh God, even better. Go.
I have to go.
Oh no!
Yeah, mate. I've got to get up early in the morning, so I want to get cracking and go to bed. Thank
Scott,
you for being. I like. Oh, this is the last one, hopefully under a Tory government.
Yes, that's why we're dressed up, bruv.
Where's my thumb gone?
Well, Scott, it's going to be brilliant to see you next Thursday.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm really looking
forward to it. See you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday.
Yeah, no more see you next Thursdays after next Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, really looking forward to it. And thank you for having me on tonight and everything. Sorry to duck out early.
That's all right.
Nah, mate,
Scott,
you're cool.
Scott, just
Lovely to see you, Scott.
Just leave your camera on because your bed's right behind you. We can keep an eye on you.
No, don't be weird, Wayne. We're not going to sit here and watch Scott sleep like Kathy Bates in Misery. What is wrong with you?
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's a market.
Dirty little bird.
Well. It's not that kind of channel.
Yeah, and I don't sleep with clothes
Put your
on.
feet out as well.
Right, Scott. Thank you so much. We'll see you on Thursday.
Love you, Scott.
Love you guys too. Have a good night.
Good night, Scott. Cheers, bro.
Bye.
Political Alex is in the chat. Hey Alex, how you doing? Yay! If you want to, Alex, if you want to come to the party, there are tickets available. We'll be able to sort you out. That's happening on Thursday. Right, John, have I asked you about your story of the week? Because it is 11 o'clock, so we're going to have to wrap up fairly soon. But have you got something for us?
No, well, yes, I do actually. Now I think my favourite because obviously there's quite a lot of stories, but did you see? I think it was today actually. Johnny Mercer has said that if he wins,
Johnny Minge.
Johnny Minge, has
myself.
said that if he wins on Thursday, it will be his last term, right? Which to me says, there's a chance I might lose here. So if I do lose, I'm going to be happy, really, because I was thinking of going anyway, because he's blamed abuse on his family. I mean, like maybe, I don't know. I mean, can't think why people would want to abuse him, but anyway. So So to me, that was my sort of news of the week in a way, because to me that just seems coded to me. It's like, well, if I win, I'm going next time, and I just thought, I think you might actually lose now.
So Johnny Mercer could lose.
I don't even know that it's that close. He's expected to lose, isn't he?
It could even be a three-way, couldn't it, Phil? They think Reform could even do quite well down there.
I suppose but if you look at some of the MRP polls, I think it's one of those where they all basically agree he ain't winning.
Where's his constituency?
Plymouth Moorview, isn't it?
Plymouth.
Oh, okay. That's Toryland.
He's up against.
But not right now. It's not.
Yeah.
The other bit of Plymouth is, is well going Labour. So it is the Tory bit of Plymouth, but Plymouth's not going to be Tory after next week.
You got Plymouth, Chichester, Bournemouth. They're all sort of.
In terms of how it's been named now, obviously I don't know the geography, but you've got Plymouth Moorview, which is Mercer, and then you've got Plymouth, Sutton, and Devonport. In terms of the ones that got Plymouth at the start of the constituency name. I mean, obviously there might be other constituencies as well.
Have those been sort of like rebanded at all?
Yeah, I think quite a lot of constituencies had some work on them, but Plymouth Moorview I don't think has changed that much. Not
a big change to his seat. No. You get a few little boundary bits, but generally his seat's not changed. I think people down there have just realised the guys are. Well, that's your word. I was about to say, Wayne. I won't say it. But...
Well, I mean, this is the thing as well. In the actual
don't nick my gimmick.
In the MRP polls, they basically have Labour winning it, and that won't take into account Johnny Mercer himself. That doesn't take into account.
Yeah, exactly.
So where you've got someone who has, not impressed people locally, they're even less. So I think Johnny Mercer's gone.
So I think it's a coded little thing he's done to sort of say that
save his ego.
Oh, it's all right. I don't care. I've lost. It's fine, because of the abuse. So up yours. I can just see that. That's just what he'd do, isn't it? And my son is actually friends with one of his PAs as well, which is quite interesting. I think I mentioned on here before.
You have, yeah.
Oh, Graham's got a prop,
isn't it?
He's already looking. Apparently, I've had the inside on this. No, he's been looking for a few months. Apparently, so I think they know. They damn well know he's going.
Yeah. He is going, I think.
Yeah.
I got this off Chris Barker. Chris Barker's the guy who does the amazing Sergeant Pepper's illustrations at the end of the year with all the people who died. And it's a bingo card. And this is every single Tory who's standing in the election, and you can cross them off as they go. There's 600 people on there. Sort of worked out that if you knocked one off a minute, it'll still take you several hours to get through them all. Obviously, some of them aren't going to lose their seats, but I'd really love to get a couple of lines, like up or down, or left or right, or diagonal, or whatever.
Hang on, you know Michael Gove?
Yeah. He's not standing.
No.
Oh, you're talking about cocaine. Because he's a cokehead. So what you did there, John. That was very good. How about bingo?
Straight over your head, that was.
that.
It's straight over my head, yeah. I'm a Boy
Yeah,
Scout.
that's a bit of a big role to be using for what you were thinking of there.
That's what I was thinking. I thought, God,
Unless it's
Jim
Barry
Graham's
Manilow.
nose is not that big.
he's not in Essex now.
To be fair, I've been to a few parties where that ain't big enough.
But yeah,
I'll just take the tube.
If you are planning to get one of these bingo cards, it might not get to you now until July the 4th. Before July the 4th, I should say.
Not surprising.
But if you get a copy
what was
of
the
this,
cut-off date? Was it yesterday or is it today?
yeah. I mean, it might still get to you, but it's just not guaranteed. Yeah. But if you get a copy of the New European newspaper, they have it in the middle. You can pull it out. I'm really enjoying the New European because they're using illustrations by people who I follow on Twitter, like We Fail. And
at the moment, you can't even get postal ballots out.
No,
people aren't getting their postal ballots.
This is
Royal
true.
Mail as well. One thing I've sort of found
especially
amusing,
in other countries.
Then it bit me on the arse. I've seen a number of Conservatives, including old Wiggy himself, Michael Fabricant, complaining that Royal Mail haven't been delivering their leaflets and stuff. And I was saying, okay, you're actually having a pop at a service you privatised. But they've screwed me over as well. You know what I did? I planned on. I said, well, I can't on the day of the results just have ordinary like food. So I was going to have this like roast dinner representing all the parts of Britain and stuff, and I'd sent off for some very nice joint of Aberdeen Angus, and I sourced it from Scotland because you don't have to get it from Scotland. I thought, I'll do it properly. Very like the Scottish version of Fortnum and Mason. And first thing I get when it's dispatched is Royal Mail say, "Oh, say it's at wrong place. Sorry." It's like, okay, so you don't know how postcodes work now. Brilliant. And then, so I had to ring up this place and say, okay, so how do I know now it's going to be fit for consumption? Right. And I got them, stuff like this and blah, blah, blah. So eventually it arrived a couple of days later. They open it up and it's like room temperature in there. So it's like they're not, So obviously it's in the bin now. I've got my refund. So, and I can't be asked to try it again. But I'm thinking, how Royal Mail used to be spot on. They're really bad at delivering things now. There's certain things I sometimes get that should be delivered on Saturdays that are not now delivered to like halfway through the next week. But just something as basic as that.
Let's go backwards.
And I see these Conservatives moaning, and I think, okay, yeah, you've paid for this service, you should have it, but you are the ones who privatised it.
Yes, you made it shit, and now you're moaning about it being shit.
Phil, I'm just going to say to you, I've had a very similar experience, but with a private company. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to get sued.
Okay.
But the delivery company delivered my Hello Fresh box.
Right.
On Monday. They emailed me on Thursday to say your Hello Fresh box has arrived. We've left it in your bin shed.
Nice.
So I go downstairs.
Hello
and I'm
Fresh
like,
in the bin shed.
Yeah.
But 3 days later, they tell you where they've stuck it.
God.
So they've emailed me saying,
a Tory trick,
your
that, isn't it?
thing has been successfully been delivered. And I walked down there and all the ice packs are melted. And I'm like, looking at this thing going, oh, maybe I can get away with this. But no.
No.
Happened on three weeks on the back.
Really?
Alan Poe is asking in the chat, super chat. Thank you very much, Phil. Is the embargo due to an issue with postal votes?
We can't tell till midnight. The embargo's in place till midnight.
We'll find out in about 52 minutes. But yeah.
I mean, I'll be in bed by then. But we'll have to wait till tomorrow. It's probably going to be really boring, isn't it? It's going to be actually really boring. But at the same time, why would there be?
It should have been well delivered by now. But I've seen a couple of people say on social media that they haven't received their ballots.
There's been a lot of it, and it's particularly. I mean, John.
That's really worrying.
So, John, I mean, there's a lot of people because they're going on holiday. So some people, that's it. They've had to go on holiday. They now can't vote. John Swin is saying it's a particular problem in Scotland because their school holidays. I mean, they start before they do here, so they're starting next week. So there's going to be a lot of people going on holiday next week. So it's terrible. Because a lot of people would have got these postal votes as well to avoid another form of voter suppression.
we're now in the territory where anybody who's abroad, their postal vote is not going to get back in time.
People who were abroad, I've had a few people contact me.
We've had people in the chat talking about
that. Would never have had a chance in the first place. I mean, they needed realistically to have a proxy vote or something if they could. But although the thing I will say is that despite the fact there's a lot of emphasis, a lot of money on the right wing about postal votes, and there's been a real push amongst but Labour, I suppose, in particular, but I think just progressive people in general to get people to sign up for postal voting. Nonetheless, disproportionately, it's Conservative supporters who use postal voting. So they're screwed.
You reckon?
No, that's a fact. The Electoral Commission say so. So the Electoral Commission have also had something else interesting to say. Sorry?
Even now that, the law's been changed so that Brits abroad can vote.
Yeah, but they can't, can they? Because the postal votes are still on their way on the slow boat.
Well,
can I just jump in?
That's really undermining democracy.
It is. They should set up in in countries where you've got a major population.
Your vote into
the
embassy.
There should be a place
like the
where
Romanians
you post it.
do. I love Romania.
Yes.
Such an enlightened
Australians
country.
do it when Australians want to vote in their election. They vote. They do a vote postally and they send it to the embassy here in London.
You can
to
do
vote
that.
if they live in the UK. I mean, which is something that we could do. We have embassies and high commissions in every country in the world.
The Spanish do that,
or at least the high consul.
do that to some extent. They have polling stations in the consulates, but they also have a postal vote via the embassy.
Yeah, the fact that we don't do that is
wonderfully
embarrassing.
Enlightened. They actually had, we just had the European elections. Romania actually had something like 158 different polling stations in the UK.
Wow.
Germany is a different story. You have to send your application form with a wet ink signature. It has to arrive about 2 months before the election, and you have to register for each election separately. And then you get a postal vote. And I mean, it took the postal papers, the ballot paper took 2 weeks to reach me. Which is unusual, actually. In the olden days, before Brexit, getting a letter from Germany to the UK took a couple of days.
Yeah.
Now, 2 weeks.
Welcome to the Brexit.
For my post, and it was so long that they emailed me to say, if you haven't received it by this date, please let us know. So I emailed them back and said, well, I got the letter telling me if you haven't received it by such and such a date, get in touch. So I'm getting in touch, but that letter took 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So shall we give it a couple more days?
So it's a combination of terrible democracy and terrible postal services, both of which are the fault of the Tories. Thank you very much to Johnny Copperhead for the £2 super chat. Tories effed about and are about to find out.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Understand in this day and age why we can't find a very secure digital way of voting.
Well, we do it with our banks.
Yeah,
I can't remember which one it was. It's one of the 3 Baltic countries. I can't remember if it was Lithuania. I think it might have been Lithuania. Actually has electronic voting, online voting.
Shall we wait until our Ministry of Defence can actually deal with cyber attacks before we try it out?
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
Good shout.
And the NHS.
So, quickly, who hasn't done a story of the week? Phil, have you done a story of the week?
I haven't, but I'm not sure.
Well, do you want to pick one?
No. I did one earlier, didn't I? The Tommy Robinson's still my favourite one.
Tommy 10 names.
The Tommy Robinson's still my
Being
favourite.
illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I mean, I am playing fast
passport.
and loose there. I got pulled up on that on my channel when I did it. Okay, he's not actually been arrested for being an illegal immigrant because he's not trying to live in Canada, but he was arrested for not actually entering properly. But he
That is illegal immigration.
Well, immigration's technically when you're trying to live somewhere, not visit. But if we're going
in
to
the UK, that would be classed as illegal immigration.
Well,
because he's entered illegally.
Yeah, the Tories would say that. But the funniest thing was he posted up his arrest papers for whatever reason, and it was revealed he has an EU passport. So Tommy, the English nationalist Brexiteer, has an Irish passport because he didn't want to give up his freedom of movement, and he's not
charming.
He's not interested in the blue passport, is he? He don't care about the blue passport. Oh no, we want the burgundy, please. Thank you very much. With the nice picture of a harp on it.
Wayne, have you got a story of the
I'm
week?
all right, Jack.
Yeah, it's not a story of this week, but it's a revisitation of one from last week, and that was the Gambling Commission looking into MPs voting on their own selves. Because there was that Tory MP that voted for him to lose, and I'm like,
you mean bet on himself to lose?
Yeah, and I'm like, sorry, bet on himself to lose, and I'm like, I could vote for myself to lose, because all I'd need to do is go and knock on all of my constituents' doors and call them a see you next Tuesday, and I represent this particular party, and they'd be like, he's a wrong one, I'm not voting for him. Next thing you know, I've lost my seat, but I've got a shed load of cash.
Yeah, but
yes,
this is Tory way. I will tell you something though. There was something that cropped up, was it yesterday or the day before, that's quite interesting now. It sounds to me like they are starting to think about a criminal investigation. I don't think we're going to hear any reports on it before the election. It does sound to me like they're starting to think along in terms of saw David Allen Green saying something about it. So we're starting to talk about misconduct in public office things here. So there could be actual, which would be very interesting, because if you're going to go for misconduct in public office for something like that, then surely there's a load of more serious shit that's been going down over the last few years.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's a West Ham footballer. I'm not going to name his name because I don't want to get us sued, but people will know who he is. Who?
Plus, he's a West Ham footballer, so we don't want to,
yeah, who cares about them? But he's facing a lifetime ban for like bet fixing.
Yeah.
In the sense of like he's telling his mates back where he lives that he's going to get a yellow card. He goes in and sticks one on someone, gets a yellow card. His mates win loads of money.
Yeah.
And he gets a lifetime ban. Like, you cannot play professional football ever again. That should be more stringent for people that are like lawmakers.
Yeah. It's amazing how the standard of expected behaviour is lower in politics than literally anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else.
Like you like if you're a doctor and you do something a bit naughty, you can get struck off for life.
Yeah.
But if you're an MP that's having a little gamble up and then fixing that gamble, you're all right.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, I think there's a big difference between putting a bet on yourself to lose, right? Which is kind of like, people who like aid put a bet on Brexit happening because he didn't want it to happen, and Trump winning because he didn't want him to. But there's a big difference between that and someone who literally knows when the date of the freaking election is, because they are mates with the Prime Minister or their minister. And they put a bet on that being the date of the election.
Yeah, that is more serious. But what I would still say is, I don't know, like having a pop at people who put themselves a bet to win or bet to their party to win, that's just stupid. Don't have a pop at that. That's just gambling. And also, there's clearly no conflict of interest there because... No. But if you put a bet on yourself to lose, at the very, very, very least... that is a dumb move politically, and you don't deserve to be a politician if you're that thick.
Yeah.
So I have no sympathy for people who did that, even if I don't think that anyone seriously is going to think winning a bet is better.
Alf Smith in the chat. Sorry to interrupt. Alf Smith in the chat is saying, how about betting against the pound the night before Brexit?
Wow.
There you go.
They did.
Yeah.
Well, look at Black Wednesday back in 1992.
Yeah.
That was...
Sorry, what was that in 1992?
George Soros made a killing, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that's what pretty much started to kill the Tories for that Parliament.
Or if you start shorting stocks on just before 9/11, happen.
There are laws about insider trading.
There are, but you've got to first of all, I mean, you've got to have enough evidence. Some of these things, if someone just says to Nigel Farage,
he freely admitted it though. He freely admitted it. He said, I'm betting on myself to lose.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the shorting with the referendum. Someone just gives Nigel Farage I mean, obviously it was dodgy because he says he's seen stuff that means losing and no one's seen anything because, the polls aren't even, polls aren't closed. So it was really obvious, but it wouldn't meet the. Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I can't imagine you could prove that Nigel Farage deliberately manipulated the pound.
Okay, well,
I'll give you a paper trail.
Okay, I'll give you another example. Nancy Pelosi in America.
Yeah. Former speaker.
Former speaker. She put a load of money into a certain fund because she knew that it was going tits up. So she made a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And again, I'm being very vague because I don't want us to get sued.
Yeah. Well, it's not a problem now, though, Wayne, because the Supreme Court have ruled that actually they can just completely ignore any law in America if it's in the interests of corporate, if it's in corporate interests. The Supreme Court has said, no, we can. Oh, you legislators, you think that? No. We're going to define the law to be in corporate interests now.
Yeah, and if you
today's news.
And don't forget, corporate interests, corporations in America have the same rights as individuals, but none of the responsibilities.
Don't get me started.
I was just going to ask about that. What about the responsibilities?
Exist.
It's corporations are
their
people.
own Tories are way more entrenched over there than they are here.
We've got to wrap up soon. Quickly, Cozy. Sorry, I've got some interference coming through. Is that from Darren? Darren, are you there? Are you still underwater?
Can you hear me?
No,
we can hear you, but you're muffled.
Your audio is underwater.
Darren, check your input for your mic.
Yeah, check it's plugged in.
Check you haven't got a sock in front of your mic or something daft like that.
No, mate.
No. That's coming.
It's awful. Just stay there. We'll just look at you because you look lovely. Right.
Look pretty.
But yeah,
maybe look at your guitars.
Put your mic on mute for now because we're getting some weird noises coming through.
I'm going to go on now anyway. You have a good weekend, and I'll look forward to watching you on the live stream next Thursday.
Wow, it's just started to work. But thank you very much, Darren.
Have a little wiggle. Have a little wiggle.
Is that better?
Yeah. The more you talk, the more it works.
For fuck's sake.
Hang on, you're getting into Wayne's territory now.
Oh, God's sake.
It only took 2.5 hours.
I've been sat here. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
100%.
I've been sat here fucking about with all my laptop. See, the thing is, I've got a new desktop and all that sort of stuff, and I'm thinking, it's all messed up and this, that, and the other. But never mind. But
Damon, it's a week until there's going to be no Tories anymore. Does that cheer you up? Is that going to cheer you up? Yes.
Tell you what cheered me up even more was watching James Cleverly having an argument with that guy on Channel 4 News.
I didn't see that.
Oh, that is hilariously funny. Because he was going on about the betting scandal, this and that, and he went off on a tirade about this and that, and in between him just going on a speech about Labour, Angela Rayner, Jeremy Corbyn.
Right. Yeah.
It was just hilarious.
It's what you
do. Take out the emergency Corbyn.
But it's what you. To be fair, that is what you would do. I mean, that is politics. You get asked a question. You don't want to answer the question, so you just get your own talking points across, because that's all it's about.
That's what Trump did last night. Yeah. So I'll have to check that out.
It just looks incredibly sad, though, doesn't it? It does
himself...
It does.
If you're capable of thinking, no, I want this question answered, and you're not answering it. But for a lot of people, they're just hearing the talking points he wants to get across, because he knows there's no good answer to the question anyway. So it doesn't actually lose him more support by not answering it, because if the answer's worse, that's why Anne-Marie Trevelyan should have just talked some old shit when she was being asked why it's all right for Frank Hester to be forgiven and not this fella from Reform UK. It's like, when there's no good answer to give, don't give an answer. Get your own thingy points across instead. Mm-hmm. That's not like the old yes minister line. Well, I don't think that's really the question, is it? I think the question you're really asking is this, and therefore I will answer my own question. Uh-huh. And it doesn't matter how many times they try and say you're not answering my question. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll try again. And then you say the same thing that you want to say, It's slightly different.
Phil, are you secretly telling all these Tories how to reply in conversations?
I'm just saying that's what you have to do. I mean, if James cleverly can work it out, I'm not actually giving him some great secret.
Michael Howard taught everyone how to do it anyway.
What did Michael Howard teach?
It was like Trump.
But Michael Howard, you just got to look at the Michael Howard interview.
It was like, did you see
on it?
Did you see the clip of Trump being asked the same question 3 times about childcare?
Did you threaten to overrule him?
Didn't answer it at all, and just went off on a tangent, just attacking someone with ad hominems.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
But that's all he needs to do. He needs to get like everyone like that. He needs to get his base out and hope that a load of people don't vote for Biden for whatever reason. It's a bit like, hold on, I'm going to put this up. I'm just going to have to do it as a quick screen grab.
Paul in the chat is saying, personally, I think the Tories will win a landslide. I personally don't. The Vicar says less than 6 days to go. This is going to be absolutely epic. So, yeah, we are going to have to wrap it up soon because, what have we got then? You know, I just thought Biden was too old. I saw that from The Handmaid's Tale. I don't think that's it, though. I think that if he had come across well in that debate, he could have salvaged it.
I'm absolutely 100% not going to blame voters if they won't turn out for Biden, because my attitude, and I said this in 2019 as well about Labour, it's like, yeah, you could say that all of these people should have got behind Labour in 2019. We could have stopped Brexit. And, and you just basically punch yourself in the face. But what is easier, to tell millions of people that they're wrong, or to tell one guy they should have stood aside?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what happened in 2019. And it drove me up the absolute wall.
And it will be the same with Biden as well. It will be like, yeah, if you're going to say because it's really binary in America. It's not an parliamentary stuff.
Ego.
It's between two people. That is it. And it's between two people. And if you're going to deliberately vote in such a way that you're risking Trump, you could say, whatever happens now, you do not get to complain because you didn't turn up. But nonetheless, the Democrats can get one guy to change. And, so it's like, which is easier, to get one guy to change or to try and persuade millions of people, look, this, okay, you don't like what Biden's been doing in terms of the Israel-Palestine situation. Is Trump going to be the same or better, or is he going to be worse? He's going to be worse, okay? Yeah. Or you could say, about, women's rights, anything you want to pick. Those sorts of people who turned out for Biden last time know that Trump is going to be way worse, so they are punching themselves in the face. But it's easier to get one guy to change than it is millions of people to change.
Yeah, exactly.
What we need is a 40-year-old Biden. Someone to put their arm around 80-year-old Biden, just lead him off and say, come on, bruv. Come on, just leave it. And then bring someone else in who's got the same vigor as him back in the day. But
just use a set for the White House, the one that they use the West Wing, and they use for a lot of the White House dramas, that they just put him in that and tell him that he's the president and just leave him to it. Joni, thank you very much for the €2 super chat. The Trump shtick, I'm prepared to lie for you. Yes, very, very true. And also, Brad W has pointed out that Jimmy Carter, the potato farmer, is 99 and has been receiving hospice care since last year. Sounds ideal for running for president.
Yeah, because he only had one term. He can do another.
He can. He's legible, isn't he? Yeah.
That's a good shout.
It's not a good shout, Wade.
It's 99.
That's a possible shout.
I'm literally nearly dead.
Did you see the debate last night?
Yeah, it was.
Jimmy Carter was the loveliest president there's ever been, I think.
I'll say Obama. Obama's probably the most charismatic one that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about that.
He was charismatic. He was most charismatic.
As a nice man, he's the nicest man that's ever led America. He's got to be.
I remember reading about an old story about him where he was nearly attacked by a wild rabbit while he were out fishing. That was hilarious.
Who was that, Carter?
attacked by a wild rabbit.
Yes, he was on a boat on this
Grr, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, this wild. I can't remember what it was called. It was somebody got a picture of it swimming in this lake, heading towards his boat, and then it jumped on him, and because all I think it was something to do with Ronald Reagan. All the press jumped on it, and I think it was so Bunny Goes Bugs. That's what they used as a headline, or something like that.
It was probably Nancy.
Yeah.
If you can't fight up a wild rabbit, then I'm pretty sure you're not qualified to.
What if it's the rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail? What if it's the beast?
Oh yeah,
Monty Python.
I mean, if it was like a grizzly bear, I'd be like, yeah, fair dose. But a wild rabbit.
I still reckon a grizzly bear would struggle because, it'd be waterlogged. It's fair.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there because it's just coming up to 11:30, and I think I've done over 7 hours of streaming today. I did 2 hours this morning of that bloody debate. It was... I can't tell everyone how painful.
Unless you Graham.
If you just watch the highlights, that's one thing. But you sat there and watched it all. It was horrifying, especially for someone like me. And my brain's going 100 miles an hour, and I'm thinking, this is what you need to say. This is how you need to say it. And sometimes you'll be watching it, and like the politician will actually say something along the lines of what you want them to say or do, but it was like watching a terrible stand-up comedian, but it's your granddad and you're trying to be nice and it's excruciating and you just want to just walk on the stage and say, come on, granddad, let's go have a nice hot cup of tea.
See, the thing is,
embarrassing everyone.
See, the thing is, Graham, what is the betting that those on the Republican side will have clipped that all up and get it ready for the week before, especially for the week before everybody goes in and votes.
Yeah, and I said it earlier. I think Trump won that debate, even though he didn't answer a single question. Everything he said was a lie,
and you could see the look on his face as well.
Oh, do you know what? The funniest thing that I saw was like he was chatting away Biden, accusing Trump of all these different things, and you pointed out like on stream, Gray. And he's just sitting there, just nodding, going, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, you could see, because I had like a pig, I had like an orange pig face that I was putting over Trump, so you didn't have to look at him. And I took it off for that bit because I wanted people to see that he had this like sort of grin on his face, and he was like, "Yep, I totally banged that porn star behind my pregnant wife's back. Yep, I totally sent a mob of rampaging arseholes into the Capitol building to literally kill everyone in there. Yep, I did that. Yeah.
And I do it again.
I'm going to have to go, guys, but I'm going to leave you with a tweet I saw today, which was right on this topic. The only winner is Voyager because it's hurtling away from the Earth at...
But it came back in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Did you, Cozy? Did you message my mum?
I did message your mum.
Good stuff.
Oh wow!
She said she might come to the event on Sunday. She said she will
fantastic.
Do it. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
So, all right, Cozy. We've been chatting.
You take care.
Right.
Nice Africa yaying with you last weekend, by the way.
And you, darling. It was lovely to see you and give you a big squeezy hug.
Right, I'll see you soon.
Good.
You take care.
See you soon, guys. I'll be logging into the live.
Bye.
Also, you guys enjoy next Thursday.
Thanh you very much, Darren.
Cheers, Dal.
Thank you.
Thursday's the wait.
Will do.
I'm going to be miserable on Friday, I reckon.
Why?
Because
you have a hangover.
No, I won't. I don't drink that. I told you I don't get drunk these days. I occasionally have the odd drink.
For sure.
It's it's just I don't know. It would be so close to getting the Lib Dems into second, and I'm not quite sure.
I don't think
it's quite.
I don't think it's going to happen. It'd be nice if it does, but do you know what?
More than nice, it'd be game changing if it did, and I just don't think it's quite there.
At the end of the day, I'm just going to be very, very happy if the Tories are no longer in charge of this country.
But I just see the start of another cycle if things don't change.
Yeah,
and until I've got the confidence that things will change.
It's a key point, isn't it? It's a very pivotal moment, potentially. But look, there's one way I've been saying to people is this, right? My son's just done A-level politics, right? And one thing I did with him a couple of weeks ago, I think I might mention it, is that we watched back the 2019 election, right? First couple of hours, we watched it. And if you'd have said to me then, as soon as you saw that exit poll come up, right, that sinking, horrible feeling that came into your head, if you said, actually, do you know what? Because it looked like Boris was going to be in power for 10 years at that moment, didn't it?
Yeah.
This was worse than Michael.
Well, no, I knew Boris Johnson wouldn't be in power for 10 years. I knew they would have to get rid of him.
I agree with that. The Tories would they weren't going to budge. This was Michael Foot again for me, and I was just about remember that as a kid. And if you'd have said to me then, "Oh no, it's all right. 5 years, they're going to be absolutely potentially walloped in the next election," I'd have taken that. The Tories will be down to 150 seats. Fuck me, I'll have that. Thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, I am unfortunately just too much cynical for that, because the way I look at it now is it's not just that things are worse than they were in 2010. Things are worse than they were in 1997. So it's like, as a net effect, the last Labour government, even though that was the longest Labour government by some margin ever, effectively didn't even stem the tide. So I now look at the situation as unfortunate. It's almost like being let off the rack for a little bit before they stick you back on if we don't get this right. And when I say we, I mean they, because I don't get a say.
I personally think that with what's going on now, everyone's like, I don't want anyone to get too complacent about us actually winning this. And at the same time, I don't want us to let up on the pressure on the Labour government.
Don't worry about that. Do not worry about that. You think that we're going to do that? You think the Tories are going to do that, or the tabloids that they're in bed with, or do you think the tankies are going to do it?
But this is the thing. No. It's platforms like this where we do these sort of shows where we need to make sure that we keep them held to account. So we put this stuff. We put our stuff out online, and then they can see it. We can send it to them. This is what your voters think of you, and they can look at it and they can go, "Yeah, gaffer, yeah, this is what's going on."
Well, that's the hope. I mean, we want we want the Labour Party, when they're in power, to listen to us more, which I think they will do. Not necessarily to us here on the Politics Social, but just to their constituents in general, better than the Tories do, because the Tories don't listen to anyone unless they have very deep pockets and a nice massage style. It's I think that's a given. But Phil's right. We have 10 years probably to make sure that the Tories never come back as bad as this again, because they were awful from 1979 to 1997, and then they went away, and we thought, like, that's the end of that nonsense, and then they came back 10 times worse than they were under Thatcher. I mean, oh my God. So if they come back now 10 times worse than they were under
we now think of Thatcher as being principled.
Yes! She was one of the good ones now. I mean, oh my God, I never thought I'd be saying that about Thatcher. But, these Tories now, they really care about the oil workers. They never cared about the coal workers in the 1980s. Now those oil workers up in the North Sea, we're going to think about them when we're transitioning to a greener future. And suddenly, I don't think you care about them.
Do you want some nationalised water? Nah, we'll get rid of that.
No.
It'll be fine.
I love hearing Tories, like Phil said earlier, complaining about the postal service or the trains or the water quality. It's like anything they complain about that they're privatised. You're like,
yeah. It's not only that. Like back in 1979, we owned the rolling stock. Now, not one train, apart from the ones that are like the freight trains, not one of them is.
We own the rails, though.
They've sold the country off.
We own the bit that doesn't make any money.
They've sold everything off. I mean, you compare us to Denmark, like, they still own their country.
Yeah,
really well out of it, and I don't think we own anything anymore.
No, so I think that's the same. We own the debt. It's the same as Sweden.
We're responsible. We're guarantors for the debt when it goes tits up.
Okay,
because I mean, Labour have got a right shit list coming, of course. What's it called?
Yeah.
They've called it in the news a black swan list the civil service been putting together for them. So there's all sorts of things to deal with. Thames Water's not gone away. There's obviously the prisons literally within a matter of days. So it's not even like, over summer you need to deal with this. Day one, they've got to come out and say, well, we're going to have to carry on with the Tory plan because we ain't got any prisons. What we're going to do? And then the Tories will be going, oh, you're releasing prisoners early, or whatever they have to do, because there are no prison spaces in a matter of days again.
Yeah.
The schools have still collapsed with no rebuilding plan in place. The hospitals, another hospital collapsed again recently, didn't it? Or part of a hospital.
According to a Tory politician on radio today, they've built 200 schools.
They built 4.
Someone check. 400 or just 4?
Gillian,
I was in the van. I was in the van with my mate, and I said, she was like, "Oh, we've got schools in all the areas." And I'm not thinking,
Gillian Keegan was counting. Area. She was counting from 2010, so she was actually counting the schools that started being built under Labour. So, but in terms of actually in this Parliament's 4.
I was going to say there's no schools in my area that have been built.
We've had more.
No schools.
Yeah, no.
Ernie Burns in the chat is saying there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out when Labour gets in. Things are going to get worse from the Tories, which is something that Phil always talks about. It's like,
I hope so.
There's going to be a lot of inquiries, I think.
But I hope when it comes to PMQs, Keir Starmer doesn't do what all the previous. How many PMs have we had under the Tories?
Tory ones.
Five. Yeah, I hope they don't do what they do and say this is what we inherited. This is what. No, just.
Well, they'll have to. They do have to do a bit of that because they can't wave the magic wand. You've absolutely got to do that, and you've got to do it for as long as you can. But what the Tories have done for 14 years is constantly blamed Labour. In fact, when it came to the Horizon scandal, they actually managed to blame Tony Blair from the 1960s before we even a computer was like the size of a pissing room. But what Labour will do is they will say, you've left us in this shit, you've left us in this shit. And then a few years later, you've left us in this shit, but we fix this now. And as time goes on, and we fix that, and we fix that, and now that's working, and that's working, and that's working. Whereas the Tories never were able to say, Labour left us in this mess, and now we've got this working.
But I hope the narrative is, look, this is what you've left us with, and this is what we're going to do to fix it. We're moving on to fix it, because you are rubbish.
But what Keir Starmer should do in PMQs, if the leader of the opposition is a Conservative, and I mean this in all seriousness, he can do it using parliamentary language if he likes. If they stand up, whatever question they ask, he should just stand up, stare them in the eye, and say, "Haven't you said enough already?" And then he should just sit back down again, because they've got nothing to ask him for about 3 months anyway, because what's he going to do? Yeah. Right. And then he can stand up after summer and say, right, whatever they say, you can still play their game a little bit. Because PMQs, at the end of the day, the idea for opposition MPs is to trip the Prime Minister up. Therefore, by definition, it is the objective of the Prime Minister not to answer the question directly, because only an idiot would ask you a question you would want to answer directly. You can stand up and say, for years you promised to ban no-fault evictions, and you didn't seem to manage to do that. We've been in power for like 5 minutes and it's done.
Yeah, it's done, yeah.
And unfortunately, he's not sarky enough to do that, but he should 100% do something like that.
Bill, you know the numbers better than I. Is there any chance that there could be, in Westminster, like a Lib Dem SNP coalition? So...
Interesting. The Institute of Government have been consulting Erskine. I'm sure they knew anyway, Claire. But so the rule is, so you're talking about if it's close between, say, who's the largest opposition party, because the rule is the largest opposition party leads the opposition. If it's not entirely clear, then the Speaker decides. Now, if you end up with a situation where it's clearly, and let's be honest, Hoyle has been burnt by making decisions that didn't go well for him. If it's clear that this is a ticking time bomb that he wants nothing to do with, then obviously the rules as set out are not set in stone. If MPs want to change procedures to take account of changing circumstances, they're perfectly at liberty to do that. If MPs decide actually, but the thing is, I mean, the Lib Dems and the SNP will have very different aims anyway. I mean, they're not going to be a harmonious coalition. But there is a serious question given that you've got roughly 120 ministerial positions, like Labour, for example, of this parliament have had about 200 MPs. They haven't covered they haven't been able to shadow every minister, because you've got, even when you've got 200 MPs, which in theory is enough to cover it, there's still too many loonies in your party or people who will not toe the party line, or won't, they won't submit to ministerial responsibility. So Labour haven't actually been able to cover everyone with 200. So if the Tories have only 100, then shadowing does become more difficult, and you could argue maybe there'd be some some arrangement whereby the Tories shadow so many things, and then the Lib Dems maybe do some others, so they could between themselves divvy up shadow ministerial positions. So, but so MPs, if they decide that,
no, but
the rules as stated don't work.
Could the SNP then?
So again, it's up to MPs. MPs can do what they like, but the rules as stated are that it's the largest party who leads the opposition, and gets all the extra funding and all the rest of it, and that's it. And if it's unclear, the speaker decides. So in terms of like sharing things like that, MPs would just have to sit down and go, look, we're in a situation here, and and we'll have to come up with a new procedure. But on the balance of probability, that won't be necessary.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking.
The Tories are probably going to just.
I'm just thinking about the German model. The German model. I'm looking at that, because the Germans always have a coalition, don't they? They always have a coalition.
Yeah. Whereas in this country, even when Theresa May pissed away a majority and formed a minority government, she kept behaving, because she was still running the government and it was a single party government, that Parliament should do exactly what she said. She had this attitude: people voted for us, the largest party, so you should do as I say. So we have that, arrogance in this, because politicians are not used to compromise. They're used to winner takes all. They don't know what to do when they don't have it all.
The thing is, regarding the shadow jobs thing, it's quite interesting, because say you've got a situation where, okay, let's say the Tories are the opposition, but not by much over the Lib Dems. Would the Lib Dems want to take on any of those shadow jobs? Because optically, that would look like they are on the same side as the Tories, then, wouldn't it?
They might have to be a bit careful about how to divvy it up. But again, remember the other things that should come with it, such as, for example, being able to be invited on. Basically, they could say if they're if they're leading part of the opposition, they should be able to get on these panel shows on a consistent basis. Extra public funding. The party that leads the opposition gets extra funding. And how do you divvy up opposition day motions, for example? So there could be some of that. So it's more than just, shadowing. There's influence.
PM2 questions. They could even do that. 4 and 2, perhaps.
I mean, something like that. They would have to change procedures. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, if the Tories get like 100, I still sort of think they probably won't change very much. If they get beaten to down 70 and the Lib Dems are on 60 or something, then I think at that point they have to look at it and they have to decide they're going to have to do something different. Otherwise, Labour will just be pissing themselves laughing. They're stood at the dispatch box. Oh, there's no one on the opposition dispatch box. Oh, okay, I'll just say my piece and go.
This is just a random inquiry. Why are Plaid Cymru not invited on to ask a question at PMQs or the DUP?
Because it's time, really. So you've got the main opposition gets 6 questions, second party get 2, third party get 1, and then because you need backbench MPs to be able to ask questions as well, and the speaker tries to sort of even it out with the other questions as well between opposition and government side of it. And there's so much time in PMQs, and you need to give backbenchers a crack. So you have to draw the line somewhere.
Well, Plaid Cymru have got only a handful of MPs, haven't they?
They got 3, 3 or 4.
Yeah, because I hate the fact when after they've done the 6 questions, they have some random person talking about a bypass in like.
Well, that'll be a Tory.
To be fair, people need to show their constituents there. You do get a lot of local questions.
But then they go to the leader of the SNP, And I'm like, well, just go to the leader of SNP straight away. What's the point in putting this filler in?
It's so that the ruling party get a question for every question that the other side get. Yeah. Obviously, it's a bit biased towards the other side because they get 6 questions. The biggest party gets 6 questions. And
it's like will the Prime Minister agree with me that the bypassing I don't know.
Oh well, obviously,
Village.
Yeah, but
needs something.
It's just the setup of it, isn't it?
I mean, but the other those MPs need to show that they're doing something in Westminster. It's not easy for a backbencher to show what they're doing in Westminster for their local constituents. So you just have to champion something or ask a question about something. Because the other thing is, I mean, what you're going to find when it had the same thing in the first Parliament with Labour, actually, in all the parliaments with Labour. When you get a large majority, you're actually concentrating a lot of the opposition questions anyway. So the likes of Clyde will probably get questions on a more regular basis anyway, just because they try and even it out between literally not in proportion to the spread of seats, but between opposition and government side. And if the government's huge, then inevitably everyone in the opposition has a much better chance of a question on any given week, which means over the course of the Parliament, they'll get more questions.
Okay, fair enough.
Right, we're gonna have to wrap it up there, guys, because it is 10 minutes to midnight, and I'm literally going to fall asleep, which would be hilarious to watch, I think. Sorry, Phil, what?
No, it's fine. I was just going to say that embargo will end in 10 minutes. I'm not that...
Do you want to stay on? Do you want to stay on?
Do you know what? It'll be... Oh, hello.
I can stay on embargo.
I'm just looking at something.
Someone's got to have leaked it.
So it is saying the Sun hasn't released its front page yet. Someone's just... Oh, that was an hour ago, though.
We can fill for 10 minutes. Come on.
All right, well,
it might not come up in 10 minutes, though. It might take 15 minutes or something. So I don't know. And it might be really boring when it happens. It might be really short.
Well, Graham, do you want to give the driving seat to Phil and we'll...
No, it's not. It's not.
You're going.
Phil wants to get going as well.
It won't be worth it.
It'd be so funny if it is worth it, and we should have stayed on.
Spice Girls have got back together.
Oh my God, no! But with Posh Spice, so it's the full official lineup. Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to love and leave you, and I'll probably see you next Thursday on live stream. And
brilliant. We'll see you then, Darren.
For
the annihilation of the Tory party.
Yeah, and not just that. I'm going to now fuck about with my audio because clearly something's gone wrong.
It sounds all right now.
Phil, you've got it's probably your jack lead because mine's doing it all the time now.
Yeah, probably is. Well, anyway, have a fantastic weekend and look forward to seeing the live stream next week. Take care.
Cheers, Darren.
Cheers, Darren. See you later.
Right. Well, quickly before we go, as did Wayne do his story? Did John do his story?
Did.
Yeah, I done the story. Okay. Well, I think we'll leave it there then. I know, Wayne, you want to wait till midnight to find out what this amazing embargo is, but I bet Phil's right, and it's something to do with the England football team. It'll be that some player isn't playing or something.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll put it in the group chat because.
Okay.
Can I swear now?
No, you can't because we're still going out live. But listen, guys. Let's call it there. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. Thank you to all of our angry badgers in the chat, all our socialites. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks so much to our guests tonight, Phil Morehouse, Wayne, John Mortar, and so many others. Head over to stopthetories.vote. Just come up onto the Politics Social little square on the side of the page there. But you head over to stopthetories.vote, find out who to vote for tactically. I'm going to leave you now with an advert for endthetories.vote, which is, endthetories.com, which is setting up not a bot farm. It's very important that we don't call it a bot farm, but it's an automated way of making sure that our content gets out under the noses of the correct people who would otherwise not get to see it. So until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Over the past 10 years, our social media platforms have been invaded by fake accounts. sowing division, spreading right-wing political misinformation to influence the public in elections. The right and their dark funders have dominated the online battle since 2016. But it's time to change that. What if we could fight back against those fake accounts? What if we used our own team's technology to be a force for good? We will fight for the important causes, fighting fascism, misinformation, intolerance, anti-intellectualism, and climate denial spread by dark funding groups. But how will we achieve this? By using our specialist tech systems to broadcast documented Tory scandals, corruption and incompetence across social media and amplifying that content at scale to millions of people in decisive areas. We won't stoop to their levels. We only amplify verified events. Our enemy's own actions have given us ample material. Fascism is rising. It's stirring hate. And in the 21st century, its means to spread isn't in the city halls. It's in our hands, in our homes. The slow drip of this propaganda has been highly effective at making the public vote against their own interests, against their families' futures. For our first fight, we will target one of the main perpetrators of misinformation in the UK. Our first goal is to end the Tories. In 1993, the Canadian Conservative Party suffered a defeat so crushing that it led to the party's dissolution. We aim to trigger a similar dissolution by exacerbating the impending general election damage and remind the UK of the Conservative catastrophe for the next 5 years. So if they are not already gone, they cannot gaslight their way to power again. This is just our first objective, with many to come. If you share our concerns, help support us if you can. Visit endthetories.com. Our opponents have deep pockets. Please, help us tip the scale back in humanity's favour. Thank you.